Yes, hello, I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR407. It's NXT Update, and I'm not alone. I have a pleasure to be joined by Monty. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, man. I'm happy. I'm excited. This is my first NXT pod of this year. So, first of all, this is a little mini milestone. And also, just like I said, it's kind of like an itch. It's like one of those little itches. Maybe sometimes it's an annoying itch that you just want to ignore it. But sometimes I just had an itch that I had to get NXT back going, get it back in my veins. I'm so excited. I'm ready to talk about it, and let's just get to it, man. Let's get to reviewing it, man. But I'm very, very honored and always happy to be back here for another NXT update.
Well, like I said, you had a deserved break last month, and we'll look at NXT and Nxt Uk later. But first, the latest news. And you and I, Monty, haven't got the great when it comes to certain wrestlers. We seem to, the amount of talent that's kind of left, WWE in that time. But this week, the big story, and it was such a huge story as well, was, of course, Cody and Brandy Rose leaving all. It started with Tony Khan issuing a statement Tuesday announcing the departures, thanking them both. Cody issued a statement as well. And then Twitter lost its fucking mind.
Yes.
Monty.
Yes. They're still losing it, by the way, too. It's been days, and I'm still seeing comments and memes, frustration, some people loving it. I was just sitting back and enjoying it. I was the morning of the announcement, I was immediately shocked because I saw Cody's post, and then it really, I had to even quote tweet it wow, whoa, because not only that, but when I saw AEW just kind of reaffirm everything, and then Brandy even posted. And by the way, it's funny how everybody involved posted a statement. This was all very well thought out and planned. So that was another part of me in the back of my mind, okay, this is a work. There's something going on, right? But the more we hear and then you see everything else and all the other, all the other talking points, not even hours after the announcement, we hear about him possibly working with WWE and WWE definitely being interested or being in contact with him. So it's just no matter what side of the fence you sit on, this is huge news. You know what I mean? And trust me, James, I've heard and seen both sides of the fence. I immediately I did the whoa, y'all the smoking mirror just because for some reason I just thought about his run in WWE, but I don't really even believe it, honestly, still. Like I said, I'll believe it when I see it, that part of it, but him leaving AEW and it looks official. I have no clue what's going on, man. It's really, really weird because he's been the face. Let's be honest. Whether you like Cody or you hate him or, you don't like him, which a lot of people don't like Cody based on what I've been seeing. I didn't think he was this hated, but he really is by, like I said, by both sides of the fence. But anyway, again, it's still big news. Like I said, he was the guy, he was the figurehead for them for, especially in that initial push and even during the pandemic. So, it's a big deal. And where he ends up or what he does next will definitely be watched and talked about. So, I don't know what's going on. But, yeah, James, you can't deny this is some big – this is I don't know what's going to come of this, but whatever it is, it's a big deal because I never would imagine that Cody would be already, out of All Elite Wrestling,
Well, the thing is, this is just a massive news. Cody Rhodes kind of started this all off with a bet with Meltzer that he could get 20,000 people into an arena, and that kind of was the genesis for AEW, and the stories about, maybe losing a bit of booking power, talent there not really being happy with his position and stuff like this. But I think, you realise how big the story is when the rumours are going around that Stone Cold might come out of retirement. Power in comparison. So you go, invested, and it is. And
this is the closest we've gotten to ever. They've always talked about it, but this is the closest I've ever seen. The rumors speak that WWE wants this. So this is the closest I've ever heard that Austin would be to coming back, and no one even cares because of this news. So yeah, it's that big, Even the Shawn Michaels rumors haven't really mattered. All of that sounds realistic and cool. We'll probably watch it if it happens. But Cody left for AEW.
The thing is, they even put the Undertaker in the Hall of Fame, and it's still
yeah.
not
Oh my
bigger.
goodness, that's a great point.
Than Cody.
Nothing else has topped it.
No,
and like I said, days later, and they're still talking about it.
This is what I'm saying, and it's crazy news whether it goes back to WWE or whatever it is. If it's a work by AEW, then fair play. They've got me
masterful, right?
I mean, because the thing is, the old expression, I remember Dan used to say it a lot, opinions are like arseholes. Everybody's got one, and we've seen that with, Cody going back to WWE and being Stardust again, which won't happen. In my mind, it's like, this is the true meaning of competition now. Like back in the day with WWE and WWE, if you were a talent, you could play either one or the other and become what's best for you. And the best thing is, even if you only went away for a year or a couple of years, you could then go back to the other company and be refreshed because of it. And it builds competition. It can own, and all these AEW people might be shocked if talent goes to WWE. And go, well, WWE are awful, but again, it's about money, position, and power. If they start using talents in positions, then, like you said, it could be reversed from that. It's just an incredible time. The poster as well of Revolution was changed and just blew up because Cody was on there. Now he's not. Yeah. And I'm thinking, is it because people mention it, or is he actually said with wrestling, you just have to
took
wait.
Him off the website.
Yeah, you just have to wait seeing... Is even like I got Cody Rhodes figure. I'm going, this is valuable now. They're not going to be making Cody Rhodes AEW figures. It is just such a massive story. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and like I said, he was one of he was the main face. Again, now even whether he goes to WWE or not, or he does his own thing. He'll be on TNT on commercials or TBS, you know what I mean? Because he's still doing TV shows and stuff on the channel that we know of right now. So it's it's so weird when you think about it. I just never imagined that Cody would be like you said, if anything, I thought AEW would fall with Cody still holding it. Like you would think that's more reasonable in its inception before you would think Cody is going to leave AEW. And then, like you said, possibly go at WWE. I don't know about any of that. It sounds like a great thing. Even if I would have actually put that rumor. If I was Cody, I would put that rumor out, even if I have no intention of signing. Just because, look at how hot his name is now. Instantaneously, if you see what I'm trying to say. He could be the hottest thing in the wrestling business, no matter if it's going to be because he's going to be the biggest heel in the business or if he's going to be loved or whatever. However, he can flip this however he wants to whenever he does decide to come back. We know he has a young child. Maybe he wants to go do that for a little while. There's so many other options for Cody. But again, I never thought that he would be away from AEW. So yeah, it's a shell-shocking news, and we'll see. Like you said, that's the only thing I think that's the safest bet, because you get your expectations too high, you're just gonna be disappointed. And then if you don't think about what if it's a work, or if you don't think about every avenue, because that's the type of business we love, that's wrestling. It's all types of avenues that something can take, all different types of turns. None of us thought CM Punk was going to actually come back. I know I didn't. I never thought he would show up in the AEW ring, no matter how hot AEW got, because I really thought he was done. So we know this is these last few years have been very, very unpredictable. So I think it's just the safest option is just to wait and see how everything plays out. But either way it goes, this is big time stuff, man. And I agree with you. If it's a work, they got me. They got me all the way, and they got us all. And however it's gonna come back and work out, oh my goodness! Fair play, fair play.
Which is the thing, because even people compare it to Brian Pillman, but the thing is, he did leave and not come back.
Yes.
So even if they're coded to go,
even with his intentions, he still left, and he never came back. So
if he does, it will be, like we said, incredible. And it's so big, like we said, you had to mention it on NXT Update as well. But it is NXT Update.
Oh yeah.
And one of the things, Monty, throughout the history of the WNR podcast that we've looked at, and not, of course, NXT Uk, but 205 Live has been saying that we watched the very first episode back November 29th, it was 2016, just after the CWC. And
it seemed like forever ago, right?
It is a lifetime. When they cared about cruiserweights, or so we thought. And you look at the talent that was there with Zack Sabre Jr. And of course TJP. It was just incredible.
Kota Ibushi.
205's come to not made any effort to kind of speak about the program. I just want to talk about it quickly because this is something that we watched about 100 episodes on before we realised WWE don't really care about it.
Didn't care anymore, right?
No, yeah. But I think my favourite time period has got to be between Buddy Murphy and, of course, Mustafa Ali and then Cedric Alexander, where it was the kind of heart and soul of the Cruiserweight divisions. The matches that we're having are fantastic. Did you watch 205 live, and when was your favourite period, if so?
Yeah, like I said, I never really got a chance to follow it weekly. But when I did check out some things, it was usually because someone was like, "Hey, no one's talking about it, but this Cedric Alexander Ali, this feud, this is some classic stuff they're doing." Or like you said, Buddy Murphy. I think that's a really good run. I know Pac's run really or Neville at the time. I really liked him as Cruiserweight champion, and even though WWE screwed that, it kind of left a bad taste on it. He was a nice highlight for a time. Like I said, like the plethora of just the different types of, if you want to call it, Cruiserweight wrestlers. I like that. It was really diverse because you had luchador style, you had you had the like a British style there. You had all styles of wrestling kind of represented in a different type of way on 205 Live in its original nice run. But I'm not gonna lie, I never really caught it all the time. But yeah, 205 Live is one of those things that I didn't never really get invested in from the beginning because it was something that historically in WWE, I always knew that it would get the shaft when other things come up. So, for example, when the main roster is the focus, you gotta focus on trying to pay Brock Lesnar, focus on this and all that. The Cruiserweight always got the never got the credit they deserve. So even when it was an idea, I said it sounds nice, but are they really gonna do anything with this? And so the way they started to treat the Cruiserweight on Raw also adversely affected how they looked, or at least the thought process about checking out 205 Live. So it was a lot of unfair stuff there, but I know it was a lot of great talent there, and the guys, they deserve to be celebrated, for what they accomplished in that first initial run. But it did die a slow and a slow death, man.
Painful death. It really was.
It was just very painful, right? Yeah, very slow and painful death.
I mean, don't get me wrong, the recent times as well with people like Solo Sikoa and Ivy Nile on it have been all right, and I try and, like I said, catch it every now and again. But it's a bit like WWE Main Event, I think most recent I was watching that when they had Ciampa and Dunn, just to see kind of how they did. But like you said, it's a problem when they treat a program like that, why the kind of the fans respond that way. Even if you look at the roster of talent that they went through, maybe Noam Dar's the only one kind of left standing. I'm sure there's a couple of others.
Isn't that something, right?
So,
they never took him seriously either, by the way. But yeah, he's pretty much the only one that I can think of. All the Lucha House Party guys are gone, and pretty much everybody. Just I guess Cedric, just Cedric. Ali's walked away. Kendrick now. Everybody's gone. Deo. Man, every name I think of.
If you and I were ever going to do a podcast, it would be called "And Everybody's Gone."
Yeah, we need to. Hey, I like that idea. If you want to do a little side project, everybody's gone. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but.
They're all gone.
I assure you, everyone will leave.
But what's in 205 Live's place? Well, it is NXT Level Up, which is going to feature, of course, female superstars on cruiserweights and everything else in between. The latest episode had Ivy Nile teaming up in a tag team. I can't remember her partner at this moment in time, but there's going to be stuff like this anyway. So you look at kind of half hour and you go, probably leave it alone. But the latest on the WWE Network as well, because like I said, you get a lot of independent shows. You of course get NXT UK. The other thing that is probably the only original content once a month is the Broken Skull Sessions.
Broken Skull,
this month, January 28th, we're going to look at Becky Lynch. Did you see the Broken Skull Sessions, and what were your thoughts?
I did not see this one. I saw the trailer. And I've seen the trailer a billion times now at this point.
Yeah.
But when they were basically hyping up whatever she said about her and Charlotte's, whatever it is, I guess it's a feud or whatever they've had. So, they hyped that part up. But only reason why I have not called it, and I haven't called, as a matter of fact, I think the episode right before that one was the last episode I watched. So, yeah, I just haven't had a chance to catch up and actually watch it. But I'm sure she went into some, I'm pretty sure Austin got a lot of got some good stories and a lot of good information out of it. How did you like it? How did it go for you, James?
Well, we'll have a look at the notes because I always look forward to this. And Lynch did really open up on the podcast. And what's really weird about her career is when she first started, she took 7 years away from wrestling. And there is actually a great WWE Chronicle about her that people can go check out, where she goes more into detail of kind of being this professional wrestler and then just going, do you know what, let me try something else. So 7-year gap. And of course, coming back and NXT. But it's really weird because they start talking about becoming the man and how she developed the character. And I think there's no better person to talk to than Stone Cold about it. When you think about the parallels between coming up, giving a gimmick, Becky was Irish jigging and, of course, the ringmaster, and then creating this kind of similar case of the man who always up with a thing. Could it be any better? And I don't think it really could, and Austin really kind of delves into that. And you see the response, she's kind of taken the mic. I mean, a lot of things Becky Lynch haters, but you can't doubt how good she is on the microphone. Very similar to Stone Cold.
I think that's her biggest. That's her greatest trait at this point, almost. Not to say that she isn't. She can't back it up in the ring, but like Becky on the mic, she does a really good job. Even when it's a lackluster story that they're trying to tell, she knows how to make it compelling. So yeah, I think that's like her greatest skill. And of course, like you said, with Austin, she has a lot in common, including that because later in Austin's career, we know he couldn't have the 30-minute, wrestle fest he used to have younger in his career. So he relied on his character and talking and, just being the badass that he is. So, they have a lot in common, and I agree. I think I want to hear more about how that conversation went because of what they have in common.
Yeah, without a doubt. And another interesting thing is that was how old Becky Lynch was. She starts talking about her WrestleMania match with Baszler and saying she wanted to lose.
Yeah.
And Austin said, "What, serious?" And Lynch said, "Yeah, she wanted to drop the belt to Baszler, but they didn't want her to do it to carry on." And then she said with the pandemic as well, it really helped to take leave to try and, get away from everything at that point in time. And, of course, the fans not being there helped out. And then we get into the good shit, Monty. Don't worry. We get to the belt exchange. The belt exchange where we get the unedited video of actually what happened, which, again, is something that, as a fan, like 15, 20 years ago, you wouldn't believe that this only happened a couple of months ago, and they're showing the unedited footage of Charlotte and even DeVille being really pissed off. And basically, it boils down to Lynch hating Charlotte. I mean, this is how great it was. Just her actual hatred for who Charlotte is as a person and the kind of all the disrespect, and the belt exchange wouldn't be quite easy. She was going as Becky 2 belts, but Charlotte tried saying else. And there is true hatred. Like, they used to be friends. She gets upset about talking about, how close they were and having their moments in their career. And then just being on complete opposite sides now. And to see a superstar talking about that so openly, that's not Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, is pretty incredible.
Yeah, it is incredible. I want to say, okay, so how did the unedited footage look? Did it look nice and crisp and edited? Because the more when you tell me it was recorded, it's hard for me to be like, okay, this is. So you mean tell me it's not a work then because. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just so happen to catch all of that on camera. But at the same time, I know how WWE is. If something really does happen, they are the first to want to capitalize on it, make an angle out of it. So even if it was, may not even be as bad as it looked there, it works in favor of the story they told. But you know what? Like I said, that's crazy. Like, because I do remember them appearing to be very, very close. But I can understand, the road and the business it can break people apart. Like, but that's very, very interesting that she was. I gotta watch. I really want to watch it now because I want to get that feeling because like I want to understand like and just also look at her body language to see just how authentic some of that rage is because that is crazy to me because. And then they work so well at protecting each other too. Like, you know what I mean? Like to seriously not like someone, and then every time you have a match, I think it could probably get stiff at times, but I think they work well together. For it's kind of funny. But yeah, go ahead.
It's so interesting, and at the moment when Lynch says, losing at WrestleMania 32 to her best friend, giving her Charlotte a chance, was one of her best moments of her career, and what happened since then as well. And Austin really delves into it. Like I said, you catch up with that, and the next one, which is available right now as well, is Ron Simmons, which is gonna be fucking awesome. Like, come on,
right? I mean, I already know what to expect. It's gonna be a great talk. I think Ron was just. We all know what he is. Not only is he like just a history maker, trailblazer, and all of that we all know about, but he is just a solid guy, great storyteller too. So like, I can't wait to hear that. And like I said again, anytime is anybody from not it don't have to necessarily be the Attitude Era, but like that golden age of being on the road and having stories, the 90s, 80s, and all of that. I know it's gonna be a good time with somebody like Austin because again he's a really really good at getting information and getting those stories out there. So yeah, I'm looking forward to checking this one out.
Well, hopefully they pay Ron Simmons enough money so. Answer to a question that Stone Cold asks is just damn, and then we can just have an hour and a half of. So, how did you find growing up in whatever that?
He's gonna ask him where did the damn come from. He's gonna ask him, right?
Well, and again, who better than the originator of the what versus damn?
Right.
There's gonna be some good conversation.
It's like LA Knight's. Yeah, I want to hear Austin talk to LA Knight about saying, I don't understand why it's over, but it just reminds me of Austin in a way. A lot of stuff LA Knight does remind me of Austin. We get that later.
He is a mini Stone Cold, right? Well, let's go to NXT notes. And of course, you missed out on the last update. So what were your thoughts on New Year's Evil and, of course, a new NXT champion?
Oh, man, it was an overall decent show. I came away, I came away enjoying the Mello and Roddy match to start off. It was tremendous. It had an unbelievable pace, and it was a great example because like I like Roderick Strong and Carmelo Hayes. I keep telling you guys, anyone who listens to me talk about NXT, that's one of the reasons why I watch 2.0 is for Mello. So I thought that was good, and I think it was a triple threat on that card. And like Cora Jade looked good in that match and all of that. I remember enjoying that. But the moment, of course, was Breakker becoming the champion, and he just looked ready. He looked more ready for this moment than the Halloween Havoc match, in my opinion. I thought that match was better. I thought the New Year's Evil match was better and more fluid, and it had a little bit of intensity to it. It was a different feeling to it than the first match, and I thought Breakker proved or at least showed that he has all the tools to be big in WWE, and I think he fit right in there with Ciampa really well, and I think that bodes well for his future, and I have no problem with him becoming the champ. I think we all know that he's like the chosen one when it comes to 2.0, and he used the Steiner recliner, man. I love Scott Steiner, so I think he finished it with the Steiner recliner. I popped for that. It was an awesome match. So yeah, I enjoyed New Year's Eve overall. I think even Volta Imperium fought Riddle. Yeah, that's the Riddle night. So yeah. So that was a good match too. I was surprised that Imperium lost that one, but yeah, it was cool. It was cool. Yeah, I enjoyed this show.
I think Breakker looked awesome. Like I said, breaking the NXT, the old logo before making its way to the ring. And of course, after it went off the air as well, his dad being there. And like I said, Breakker looked phenomenal. But we're going to catch up with NXT quickly. We just notes as well. We're going to get full review into Vengeance Day. But we're going to look at NXT January 12th. And the Dusty Classic begins. Grizzled Young Vets, Creed Brothers, Brooklyn, Enochian Blade, Jacket Time, Chase and Booty, Legado and MSK. Before we started the tournament, obviously we know we finished it now, but who were you thinking was the favourites beforehand? Because I, of course, never picked the winner, so I was going Grizzled Young Vets.
They burnt me. They burnt me last year, so I didn't choose GYV. I was going Creed Bros. I even from the beginning, I just knew that I just know that they had a bright future, and I just thought it would be good to have a fresh team like that to win it. MSK, I don't think they needed it. They've been there before, of course, and Grizzled Young Vets let me down, so I was sour on them. So yeah, I think the best choice at the time was the Creed Bros.
Well, the first match in the Dusty Classic with the Creed brothers beating Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. It was messy, but the Creeds were over with the crowd. And I quite like them as well. We had a Tony D'Angelo memorial service for Pete Dunne. He did not spend long talking about the Bruiserweight. Grimes came out and said he wants to fight the A champion. Grimes smashed a picture of Dunne over D'Angelo's head. I think Pete Dunne should have gone to AEW. Really?
Oh man! So he got hit with. Oh come on, man! The crowbar. Like come on. I know what you mean, though. He deserves a lot better than what he's getting as of late. But I'm hopeful. We're looking forward. Let's look forward.
Well,
your hope has been crushed.
It has. Like. It really has. Especially Petey Poppins. I just hate him so much.
Yeah, that's true. Petey Poppins.
Just, I know. And again, Monty, I know all Americans aren't like that. Think we drink tea and watch Mary Poppins all day, but still, it's a little bit. Anyway, Dusty Tag Team Classic. Legado del Fantasma versus Mallet Blade and Edge Sanofi. Breaker grabbed Escobar, carrying him off during this match, and Blade rolled up wild for free. Breaker actually Blade and Sanofi on a win backstage. It's a surprise win. But it would be if we didn't see one of these every week on NXT 2.0.
That's a really good point. I didn't think about that because it's an upset all the time at this point. But yeah, also in the Dusty Classic, it's bound to be like an upset, and this was prime for it. As soon as I saw Legado earlier, just bragging on how they had it won without even thinking about Malik and Idris, I was just like, okay, yeah, they're prime, they're perfect to end up losing, and that's exactly what happened. And they just seemed like a good candidate to get upset, and Santos sealed it also because they were doing fine until he butted in for some reason. But anyway, it was like I said, we always do at least one upset usually in a lot of those in this case. And like you said, NXT 2.0 love a good upset.
Well, like I said, credit to Wilder Mendoza as well, because they lose all the time. And
all the time.
I mean, I can't.
They come out credible somehow, though, for some reason. Yeah. I get it. They don't win a lot, but for some reason, I still look at them. I guess it's because they perform well, even in losses, but yeah, nah.
I suppose that's how people like Dolph Ziggler have kept a job.
Exactly. This is why WWE do not have records. They're not going to do that. It'd be embarrassing for some of these guys.
We see
their career record.
Yeah, that's how we see Santos Sikoa is feeling the burn, and with the scars he's got, he will of course have them for life now as well. Yeah. And let's not forget, this is Kane. It's more character development than Kane, actually, because they were scars were psychological, as we all know. And then the main event, Volta versus Roderick Strong. This was a cracking main event. Powerbomb was too much for Strong, sealing the wind. Volta. Well, should we talk about the match first before we get onto the negative bit? Strong Volta was excellent.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I'm glad you did that because do you understand how
I just realized what's coming next. Yeah.
Right. I was so high before I just crashed. And before we get to the crash, let's go up on the high, first of all. And the high was the match. The match was really, really great. And I came into it with certain expectations because I have high regards for both of these guys as workers, and they lived up to them. You know what I mean? And like Walter connected with that first chop. Literally from the first chop, this match was just amazing. All the way had technical work, had the physicality, the fight forever chant. And I really don't agree with NXT 2.0 audience and their chants a lot of the time. Like they give out "This is awesome." Oh my goodness, they give them out way too much, James. We got to talk about that. But anyway, besides that, This one deserves the fight forever, though. This one definitely deserves the fight forever. And yeah, man, this was really cool, man. I really liked it, and the crash just ruined everything.
But like I said, the Chop getting a "This is awesome" chant, you kind of know, this is going to work out.
Right.
Like, Strong has lost his last 2 big matches as well, so they kind of wonder what direction he will go, how he responds. But like I said, the big news was Walter grabbed after the match and said he wants to be called Gunther. Yes, Gunther. Originally, like we talked about, W trademarked the name Gunther Stark a couple of days ago. A couple of days before this happened, a lot of people thinking maybe Zoe Stark had a brother coming. Unfortunately, Gunther Stark was the name of the Nazi commander U-boat, which was, pretty bad. But, if you talk about Nazi, and they are. But they've gone with Gunther. So after 3 years of Volta in WWE, and Finn Balor has come out and said, look, I was Fergal Devitt before I became Finn Balor, but you weren't wrestling in NXT 3 years before that.
Right.
He's Volta for me. Usually I go with the names. Do you know what I mean? Even if it's like Dax Harwood or whatever the other one's called, Cash Wheeler or something. I'll always try. But Volta, I think, will be Volta for me.
No.
What Gunther?
I believe it's hilarious. Now, only thing I say a positive that's come out of this is now, ever since then, listening to Wade Barrett just try his best to only say, like, the ring general, or he'll hesitate. Like, you don't just, like, if you ever listen to it, he don't go right into saying Gunther. Like, right before, especially in the first week after he announced it, he was every sentence, you can tell that usually when he talks, he'd be like, Walter is going to blah, blah, blah. Volta is going to blah, blah, blah. No. He would hesitate a little bit and then be like, what a massive chop by Gunther. Like, it was just like, oh, my goodness. Like, they're having a hard time also. But, yeah. Anyway, he's always going to be Volta to me. It just works so well. He's obviously always going to be Volta to the crowd because every time he comes out, even as Gunther, they're going to chant Volta. So, at the end of the day, it's just one of those things that we're going to have to deal with. But I try to ignore these things. This is just a very severe case of changing something that didn't need it. But they have to have that trademark. They have to own something, and I don't think they could own Volta, and here we are. So I wish they would have came up with something better. But honestly, at this point, are we really, like, they've done worse almost, I believe, probably than Gunther, even though I'm not calling him that. I'm just like you. He's Volta, and we'll worry about the rest. We'll let them do that.
I would have been happy with Hans, because then you could be dangerous Hans, dirty Hans, you know what I mean, that kind of stuff. You've got Dieter would be another one, because you could Dieter. Adolf would. Adolf. No, that wouldn't.
They tried that one. They actually, I'm sure they actually tried that one before Gunther, but for obvious reasons, it didn't play out.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We'll move on from the Nazis, and who'd have had a pound for every time I said that on the podcast. We move on to the January 25th episode of NXT, and we get a Dusty Tag Team Classic, MSK versus Jacket Time, because we all loved Kushida, so they were just thrown away in the tag team now. Jiro nearly took the win off a power driver, but Carter broke it up after Lee sent Kushida hard into Jiro. Kushida caught him in the hoverboard lock, only to find himself overwhelmed, and MSK hit a Doomsday device for the victory. This was a really fun match, but poor Kushida.
Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, what else can you say? Like, this was awesome, and I believed it. I kind of thought it would be awesome going into it, and I thought this was like Jacket Time's best match, like, as a team, so far. I thought this was really, really good, and we know what MSK is all about and what they bring to the table. So, this was cool, but Kushida obviously deserves. I wrote it down. He continues to deserve so much more, but it was a great match. I wasn't mad. I can't be mad at it. So, I can't be mad at the result of the match, but. Yeah, Kushida, we know what his talent and what he is worthy of. So it kind of sucks to see it. But I just try to enjoy it while it's here and hope that this is not going to be forever. But who knows?
Well, like you said, nice respect afterwards as well from four great talents. We get an awkward promo between Santos and Breaker. Basically, they don't like each other. And then no DQ match, Boa versus Solo Sikoa. They went backstage. Boa was on the table and got hit with a supervised splash for the victory. And I tell you what, the face paint and the makeup looked great. Looked absolutely brilliant. Until the scars started to come off. It was like Hall. Gillian Hall was back in all her glory as the scars came off Solo's face. Speaking of references, whilst I'm at it, this was like a Road Dogg Al Snow hardcore match. Come on.
Yeah. I agree. Like, it really gave me some like flashbacks to that style. Like you said, like a 2000 or 2001. Just one of those matches you flipping the channels and you come on and you see somebody hitting somebody with a trash can top, in a weird, like, backstage area, don't even like a ring. You're like, oh, God, what is this? And I remember being traumatized as a kid because I was like, wow, I like this. Like, you're not supposed to be watching that at 5 years old. But anyway, this match was, like, really, really good, though. And I thought that everybody came out of this match looking tougher, Like, Boa came looking like Boa and Solo looked like badasses at the end. If you think about what they put each other through during the match, it was brutal. It was brutal, And I didn't even think the feud that they had was like that personal. They had a fight that was more personal. Like that fight was what took that. You know what I mean? You would think they had a blood feud going.
It escalated so quickly.
Right. Almost, It was one attack. I think one regular match that with the count out, and then here we are. Falls count anywhere. It was crazy.
Well, it's like you bump into someone accidentally. You go home. He's burnt your house down. That's the type of
Exactly. I agree. I thought it was cool though. I really love that finish because but I was impressed. Like that's what it was. I think I came away like, I didn't think I was gonna like that as much as I did. I know what Solo brings to the table, but like I said again, for somebody like Boa, who I was just talking about like months ago being worthless or seeming worthless, he showed a little bit of toughness and showed some value here. So yeah, I thought this was cool.
Yeah, I think we're out. Then we see Walter, obviously after the shit that he got for the week, came out and said in German that it's his family name, giving him one of his grandfather, the man that introduced him to wrestling, and now wants to leave the past behind and create his own future imperium under his own name. He didn't believe it. We're not going to believe it. All right, that's very simple.
Yeah, I was like, all right, whatever, man. Explain it however you want. You hate it just like we do, don't you?
Does. And then the Dusty Classic continues. Chase U versus Grizzled Young Vets. Grizzled Young Vets hit the Chase U student. Boody Haywood, may I say. Bodhi. So, Bodhi. See? In a double knee face buster even for the victory. And afterwards, as the Grizzled Young Vets, they couldn't even celebrate until Von Wagner attacked both members of them. And Chase U as well, before Robert Stone was announced under new. And I don't think anybody cared.
Nope.
But Grizzled Young Vets just have great tag team matches. That's all they do.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, just as simple as that, really. I mean, I don't think this match even had I don't even think I really have anything to add to that about them when it comes to the quality of the match. And I love Andre Chase, by the way. I don't know if I've mentioned that in the past on this show, but Chase U, for some reason, I'm happy that Orlando liked it because for some reason, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because he's like, an insane teacher or he's always losing. And I think he deserved better than to lose as much as he did. But I like what they're doing to Chase U. So I couldn't complain with this at all. Like you said, GYV, ultimate, just awesome tag team. And we know they deserve better too. But I think if I keep beating that drum, it's all like I'm almost tired of telling everyone that they should be the biggest stars, two of the biggest stars in NXT. But either way it go, this is fine.
Well, down and number one contender ship for the NXT North American Championship Cameron Grimes versus Tony D'Angelo. We see Grimes fighting back after Tony was dominating the action. Pete Dunne returned to smack D'Angelo with a cricket bat. As Tony D stumbled back into the ring, he ran into the cave-in for the loss. Yes, two of my favourite things back-to-back. Pete Dunne hitting Tony D before the cave-in. But credit to both. This was better than expected. I know Grimes always gives 110%, but Tony D, it's just his gimmick, I think, lets him down. Well, for me, anyway.
Yeah, I think in the ring, Tony D is pretty good. I don't have a problem with some of the work he's shown. Like in the flashes that they've allowed him to show, he's actually, he has like an amateur background. Like he's more technically sound, than anything. But like you said, it's just that need to give everybody on this show, like just something. Like again, it's just kind of like it reminds me. 2.0 reminds me in a way of that era when it was that new generation and they just kept having like occupations as wrestlers. And that's what this kind of is, except they're not doing it with the names. They're just kind of like giving everyone like a niche kind of, or like some type of, I know it's like literally a character. Like they're not, and I get it, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's over the top, like it used to be in that way. Like I can go down a list of characters that's really over the top in my opinion.
But the expression as well is throwing shit at a wall and seeing what sticks.
Yes, exactly.
We are seeing every week new vignettes for wrestlers that might wrestle once or twice and that'll be it, or we'll see how it goes along. With Tony D, like I said, I think the guy's talented. I might need to tweak the gimmick a little bit, but then again, WWE do love gimmicks like
exactly. That. Right, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Like their gimmick place. That's what they're all about. So,
and then finally in the episode, we see Legado trying to jump Bron Breakker in the parking lot, but we see the Blackheart, Tommaso Ciampa returning, standing by with Breakker as Legado sped away. Looks like he might be back in action, and then we move on to the next episode, February 1st. We start off with Imperium versus Diamond Mine. And I really, really enjoyed this. Creed Brothers took Barthel and Isla until Volta forced his way into the action. Leader Imperium locked Brutus in a sleeper hold and then chopped him to the mat, followed by a powerbomb to steal it. Diamond Mine promised to refocus and then a shot at Imperium's NXT Tag Team Championships. But apart from, and again, I'm not comparing these two to Shield versus Wyatt, but it's very rare in WWE you do get stable versus stable, and I thought this was quite special.
Yeah, I think, especially if you think about the way Diamond Mine has been represented since 2.0 has kicked off, and we know what Imperium represents all together, and I just think, it is a big deal whenever a faction, when they have these little faction wars, and whenever you can get, like I said, that's like one of those things that can always be utilized. I think especially in a place like 2.0, I'm not saying they need more factions, but if utilizing a faction can really help some of these people that we don't know, some of these people that are kind of green, get valuable experience from more experienced people, if you see what I'm saying. Just like, for example, I don't think Trick Williams is all the way there in the ring, but on the mic and being around somebody like a Carmelo Hayes is only going to make him better, if you see what I'm saying. So, like, just putting these people up, even if it's just a duo or even if you have, like, some type of stable putting these people together, it can always be positive, especially for for all these young talent. But this match, like you said, was really, really good, man. Both teams had time to shine, and I think Diamond Mine, like you said, represented themselves well. Like, we know what Imperium is all about. We know what they can do. I thought this was really good to see that Diamond Mine, they're not far behind, and they can, again, look really, really good and look like they belong in there. And, like, Volta ended up being, too much to handle, and I thought that's the way this match should have went. And, yeah, man, I liked it. It turned out being a really, really good match to start off that show. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think I think just to talk about stables, well, Undisputed Era were around the NXT for ages, and they didn't have any stables kind of going against them. Yeah, they had tag teams, but they never a true stable like Imperium or Diamond Mine. And like you said, the thing I like about Volta as well is no discrimination at all. He doesn't care what size you are; he will chop the shit out of you, and that is kind of what I enjoy. Right. And then we had Cora Jade versus Raquel Gonzalez. Big Mama caught her and hit the Chingano bomb. Afterwards, Gonzalez helped Young to defeat and accepted her offer to team up in the Dusty Tag Team Classic. This was really competitive. I thought it was quite a good story. Did it show how competitive it was?
Yeah, I honestly thought Raquel would dominate, but I knew that this was the next logical step in the story that they were telling, because she needed to have to give Raquel a match that was worthy of earning Raquel's respect in the story that they were trying to tell, so she could become her partner and possibly they could go into the women's Dusty Classic and win. So I thought this worked really, really well, and it executed executed everything in the right way. Just how competitive it was, and how Raquel still prevailed, because we know that she is she's a former champion. She is the locker room, more of a locker room veteran, of course. So the way she got the victory worked out also. So everything just was solid. And even though I do think that it's kind of a typical wrestling logic that you have to wrestle your partner to convince them to team up with you. Nothing she said would convince her just a couple weeks before, but a match, oh man, you're tough. Even though, they should already know that she's kind of tough. But anyway, I get it.
That's well, we see Pete
It's all
Dunne
good.
challenging Tony D'Angelo to a steel cage match to hopefully settle their rivalry. And then Bron Breakker to Ciampa versus Legado del Fantasma. This, again, no real surprise about the outcome here, but wild off the top rope through the announce table. What a pump again. So impressive, now the NXT.
Yeah.
The military press power slam Mendoza for the victory. I like everything Ciampa does, and Breakker is looking better every week.
Yeah, he's only getting better, man, especially in the ring, his timing, and we all know how explosive he is. And again, like we said, we know they're probably not going to win, but Legado always entertains, no matter the end result. So, I think, this is really, really good. And, a really great main event. It was fun, really fun to watch. And like you said, hell of a bump, just a hell of a bump for Joaquin Wilde. I wasn't expecting it, but it was really, it looked really, really nice. But yeah, it was a great way to put an exclamation mark on, that show.
Yeah, like I said, the story of the night was Kaylee Ray's path of destruction, and after the main event, Ray forced Rose to agree to a title match next week before laying her out with a Kaylee Ray bomb. Look, I know she's going to lose, but Kaylee Ray in this episode was badass,
Yes. Yeah, I loved it. And, I love that. They really did a really good job of letting Mandy in their verbal thing earlier get a lot of her bragging out of the way, look untouchable. She was very, very confident, and then by the end of that show, she was just completely a shell of herself in a way, and at the wheel of Kaylee Ray. So yeah, it was just well done, and I agree. I thought it was a very, very strong thing. I wasn't expecting. I was really surprised when the second skit of her basically still being tortured by Kaylee Ray was going on. I was like, wow, she chased this girl around for 2 hours.
This is again, and I think it gets forgotten about. An episode can be as a story. Like you said, throughout the whole night. I mean, this is one of the things the Attitude Era used to do well. Of having a story where you tune in and go, oh, has this guy arrived yet? Is this going to happen? You're going to make an announcement later. And it's just gets forgotten about sometimes, especially like a 3-hour show like Raw. You've got all this time to create something. And
they don't do it at all.
No.
Think about how much of backstage you actually even see now. Yeah. You see that little set where they interview people, and maybe every now and then they're in this dark room doing a stand-up promo or something. But you don't really get any of that like you said, that walking around interaction, guy just coming into the building looking. I always remember The Rock. They used to do this all the time. The Rock with his shades, a button up, and he's just walking into the building late. I was like, oh, how does he get off? How does him and Austin just be able to walk into work whenever they want to?
But even like you said, something simple as a limo pulling up and the excitement of who's going to get out of it with a shot is just something that's just not done anymore. We move on to February 8th, NXT, the Dusty Tag Team Classic Creed Brothers versus grizzled young vets. And Liverpool's number one caught Brutus with a vicious throat strike and set him up in a corner. Julius ran up in a pile to suplex Drake. Julius hit a side slam followed by a low clothesline from Brutus to take the win. And again, just great tag team wrestling.
Yeah, man, solid stuff. And what the Dusty Cup has become. We talked about it last year, and I think since its inception, it's been just all about solid to really, really great tag team wrestling, and this was really good to me. And it was great to see the Creeds dish it out, but also withstanding a lot. And then they really look good in the ring with GYV. And again, I've already mentioned what I think about them and how good they are, and it was a good measure of where the Creeds are. And I thought this was fine. This was a really, really good way to get them to advance. And and I like I said, the sky's the limit for the Creeds, and I like them. I like the way they looked in this match.
Yeah, without doubt, Brutus will be a star if he keeps developing the way he is.
He has a shot.
He really does. And they're comparing him to Kurt Angle, but let's just do Jack Swagger first. You know what I mean? Let's just try and... GYV will hopefully get their moment in the sun. Stratton defeated Chu. Pete Dunne versus Draco Anthony. Was easily for Dunne. Tony D tried to come out, but he got his fingers snapped, even grabbed a number of weapons, decided to change the contest into a weaponized steel cage match. I hope Dunne destroys him. We see LA Knight defeating Sanga. The Indian Braun Strowman did all right, I would say.
Yeah.
Knight working so well.
That's exactly what it looked like. I wrote down,
weird.
He reminded me of a monster among men, and I said that he definitely... I wrote that down. So, yeah.
They said, look, we don't need you, Braun. We've got the Indian version going to come. It's fine. And he brings people, That's it. Do you bring anybody?
Yeah.
We get a championship summit with Bron Baker wanting to get fighting with Santos Escobar when Dolph Ziggler showed up. They show off lists his accolades for making clear he wanted the gold as he never had, sitting there arrogantly with his feet on the table as well. Ciampa, who was offended by Ziggler claiming the NXT title. Escobar then got offended. A lot of people get taken offence here. With the interruptions, promised to take out all three men. Ciampa and Ziggler started brawling while Escobar sent the Legado del Fantasma after the champ, and the stable sent Breaker through the table in the ring for the leader of Legado promised to take the goal he wanted. Nice tan, Bron, I will say. But I mean, Ziggler's great. You forget what a star he is and in NXT. But Dolph versus Ciampa, unfortunately, is a bigger match than Santos versus Bron. What did you think of this?
Yes, it is, actually. Yeah, it really is a bigger match. I like this, and I think Dolph just gets it. Even all the way down to the point to where he was like, even out of 100 matches, 99 of them, I probably won't come out on top. Like, acknowledging that we know that, he's not really ever really booked to win, but like he said at that, we know what he brings to the table. Like I said, I don't care what anyone says. Dolph Ziggler's resume and like what he can do in the ring, I don't think anyone can ever doubt it. Now, what WWE has done with that and what they've done to him and how they've booked him over the years, that's more of an argument in my opinion. But what Dolph Ziggler can do, yeah, we know that I think he'll fit right in and have in NXT and. In my opinion, especially in the ring, and like you said, a guy working with Ciampa, I would love to see that. And then also, like you said, Breaker once again, I thought he was fine. They do a really good job of keeping what Breaker says on the mic concise, and I think that's really to his benefit. I don't think he needs to really say much. He don't really bring a lot to the table when it comes to like what he actually has to say. But I think. Like I said, I think keeping him low on what he has to say and just getting straight to the point and just being like a take on all comers type of champion is probably the way to go with Breaker. But once again, like I thought Santos shined in this promo also, and I was glad that he finally got a little bit of an upper hand going into Vengeance Day. And this was all around just really, really good stuff. Like I didn't have a problem with anything that was going on. It made me feel like the world title. They finally defined like a world title picture in a way, if you see what I'm trying to say.
Well, the only thing what I want really is, we talk about them failing with the call-ups from NXT, with a call-up, but try build a story. So you've got Ciampa and Ziggler at the moment, so have a match on NXT, and then, as we've seen with Ciampa showing up Raw, have a match on Raw, and then keep it on Raw. And become a feud. And then before people realise, oh, wait a minute, Ciampa's part of Raw. He's been there for a month. We kind of know his motivations. It's the same thing they could do with Grayson Waller coming up and attacking AJ, people would be like, oh, why? Well, the story's already been set. Have people come down, build a story, and then take the wrestler with them and see if that works.
I think it'll make introducing these guys much smoother, too. You know, because I remember if you compare, like, what you just said or, like, what you're suggesting to the way I'm trying to think. Not Damian Priest, but it was who was another recent call up? Austin Theory, yeah. The way Austin Theory debuted, and like over time, I think he's starting to gain like a little bit of steam, and people are starting to recognize him. But he would like the initial pop of him coming out didn't mean much of anything because of just he came out of nowhere. Nobody recognized music, all that type of stuff. The way they premiere these guys, give you their first impression. But if you give them an impression with a competitive match, with a story that you already have footage from of an NXT that you can show to catch people up on, you know what I mean? And show them why this match is going on Raw. Like, yeah, I think what you just suggested would be a great way to introduce a lot of these newer faces and maybe give them a little main roster boost at the beginning so they won't get lost in the shuffle immediately when they get called up.
I think that just makes more sense, but then again, WWE will do it in spite of their successes we've had in the past as well.
Yeah.
The Dusty Tag Team Classic continued with MSK versus Malik Blade, and then just Anofi. The underdogs fought hard from the outside. We see a big dive, Blade and Anofi hit cut with a combination offense into Anofi frog splash for a near fall. Lee got back in the action just in time to set up the finisher for the victory. I got to say, I liked Anofi and Blade's entrance with the arms beforehand, where they're trying to grab the arm and all this. And it's just, it's something we don't see in WWE. It's it felt a bit natural and the kind of progression of them actually working together.
Even their little video packages were, if not anything, were entertaining. So.
Mandy Rose, kind of fancy Mandy Rose and that stuff, like you said.
I got to get my line out about that, by the way. Why is everyone so damn horny in NXT? But yes, that was definitely still entertaining, though. Because, by the way, on this run of shows, the amount of horniness is just you're going to get a flirt or two in a week. That's what it is. We got to get something, sexually related or something going on. Something about dating, like, I don't know when the hell NXT became so much about dating, but yeah. Anyway, besides that, I agree. I think they're very entertaining, and in this match they had a great showing. And that we know they were in there with MSK. Who are they're pretty much established when it comes to what they can do, but they had believable moments where who knows. I don't think they were going to win, but they had some really really nice spots and great moments in there. So I thought it was cool. But predictably, MSK won, and getting MSK versus the Creed Bros, though, I think was probably the best possible result. Unless I love GYV, but I think we know the way they book things, it was probably going to end up being these two teams.
Yeah, I think without doubt, MSK have delivered NXT, and then Zoe Stark convinced Io Shirai to find a partner for the Women's Dusty Tag Classic, while Kaylee Ray promised Mandy Rose she would make the most of the match in the NXT Women's Championship. Mandy versus Kaylee Ray. We see Kaylee Ray try and pull the Kaylee Ray bomb, which Rose reversed with a sunset flip bomb. Gigi Dolan and JC Jane were supposed to be escorted out of the building, but they saved Rose by sending Ray off the top rope to the floor. This allowed God's greatest creation to hit a bicycle knee for the win. Toxic Attraction tried to hurt Kaylee Ray with her own baseball bat before Io Shirai arrived to save the day. Ray laid out Rose and the Kaylee Ray bomb stood tall with a genius of the sky. This was quite a short match, but I think Mandy has it made. Even in my eyes as she's coming out, I'm thinking babyface it will work because you'll just get cheered as well. And I'm hopefully Kaylee Ray and Io are going to kick some serious ass. That might be my favourite tag team of all time. What do you think of the main event and these two women teaming?
Yeah, the match itself wasn't bad at all. Again, I was kind of impressed with Mandy at times, and I thought KLR. I thought I've definitely seen like Kaylee Ray go in another gear. But again, you only as good as your dance partner. I'm not trying to say Mandy's bad, but like you said, it was short. They didn't really want to make this, an end-all, be-all type of title match. But, the typical number games finish, that was kind of, that was no shock to me. But, Does it take away from the match overall? I don't know, but I enjoy, Io coming down and like the team of Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray. Like they're, by the way, what you can make a case that Io is the greatest NXT women's champion ever, and then you have, the longest reigning NXT UK women's champion and probably the greatest women's champion in NXT UK. So like that's a dream team in itself. They should dominate. Of course, if they have the chance to become champions, I think they should be the one to win this thing. If you think about what they are and like how they're made up, even though I know that Cora Jade and Raquel probably they're gonna be there to have something to say about that. But I love them being together and taking down Toxic Attraction because honestly, the way the women's division is set up, it's gonna have to be a joint force that takes down Toxic Attraction at this point because they always have the numbers advantage. And, we, like you said, Mandy Rose has it made right now. She's the champion, and I had no problem with it. This is very typical WWE stuff, but I had no problem with it, especially when you get the combination of Io Shirai and Kaylee Ray going forward.
Without a doubt. We've been building to this moment now, so it's NXT Vengeance Day. I honestly thought I had the audio description on the new WWE intro for the then, now, forever, together. I honestly...
it scared the hell out of me. I was so shocked. Shit. It scared the hell out of me, man. You're not the only one.
I was
like, who is that?
A man walks into the door. It's going to be like, what the fuck is this? Like, when did they...
Somebody narrating my life now?
You sitting. But I really dug the opening, actually. And I would say Gigi would have given the 30-year-old me a few memories. To be fair, the 35-year-old me is going to remember it. But I did appreciate the Vengeance Day opening, I will say.
Yeah, I did too. And I nicknamed them TA, and that stands for a lot of things besides Toxic Attraction. But anyway, this was a really good opening,
Really good.
Really good opening. I thought it was, they were creative. That's one thing I'll say. I wasn't really expecting that, the whole text conversation type thing, and all that. They threw a lot of little gags in there. Then they were referencing things. At first, I thought they were just going to be related to their stories, but then they started talking about pretty much everything, and I was like, oh, okay, this is kind of cool. So, yeah, overall, yeah, man, I liked it. It was very, very positive. And, yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying about Gigi, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, like I said, it is February 15th. We start with a weaponized steel cage match. Pete Dunne versus Tony D'Angelo, and Tony Del Rio drove to the ring. As we see, and Pete Dunne immediately went for the weapons to hurt Tony D. After suplex of a steel cage, D'Angelo cuffed the Bruiserweight. Dunne was punished till he trapped his rival into guillotine and got to the toolkit to cut himself free. That was actually quite a cool spot. Somehow, even with the extra punishment weapons, both Dunne and D'Angelo kicked out of each other's finishes, and not many kick out at the bitter end.
Yes.
And the cricket bat wasn't real. It would have killed him. I don't know how much you know about cricket bats, but the cricket bat I got is very, very solid wood. Dunne pulled out a crowbar. The Bruiserweight smacked him.
I mean, the crowbar not too far behind.
Yes, to be fair to the crowbar, and then the second bitter end for the win. I don't know about you, but this match felt like it started before the show. Because the way they sped into the spots was like, have I missed 10 minutes of the opening list? Because they went straight into it. But what were your thoughts on this?
I mean, it wasn't even an entrance, right? Like, I think the opening shot was Pete Dunne just standing in the ring, right? I thought. Yeah. I think Tony made an entrance. Because he was in a Maybach, I think. Yeah. Something like that. On Rolls Royce.
That's how quick.
Something fancy.
Quick, hurry up. Drive to the ring.
Yeah. But I have to commend Tony D, man. He, like you said, he was brutal at times in this match, especially when you did the zip tie, and at the same time, you wrestling Pete, and we know how badass Pete is. So like, by association, you get some badass rank by looking this good or looking this competitive in this match, in my opinion. And and then with both arms restrained, Pete Dunne was literally had both his arms restrained and was still dangerous. Like, so we know what Pete Dunne brings to the table. I thought both guys looked tough as hell at the end. like you said, Tony D kicked out of that bitter end. I was like, what? Really? Like, we're doing that now? Like, I didn't even know. I was not ready for that. But, I like the finish too. So it was just a hell of a way to kick the show off. I liked it.
Yeah, it was a fun opener. Thank fuck done one, I will say.
Please, yes, I agree.
Please move on now. We then get a Gonzalez Jade training montage.
When he kicked out of the bitter end, you were worried. You had to be.
I did.
You had to be
for
worried.
A second. I was ready to turn it off and move away. And just put the opening promo back on. But get to NXT Women's Tag Team Championships, Toxic Attraction versus Hartwell and Perrotta. And G. Jonah, Jace Jane attack Persia and Indy before the bell. The challenge recovered quickly, especially after the referee sent Rose to the back. Perrotta went on the tail, laying out both champions with a smoking drop. Jane set Perrotta hard and still stairs, then tripped Hartwell before she could hit a diving elbow. Finally, Toxic Attraction hit a high-low combination for the victory. A little bit later on, Hartwell walked off with Dexter Loomis, while Duke Hudson took Perrotta's hand, leading her away behind Indy's back. And like you said,
that was so nasty, by the way. Like, oh yeah, just like, oh, I know what you want. Like, what? That's how everybody's this horny at this point. Oh my god, yeah, man, yeah.
I mean, Perrotta is such an unlikable face, so the turn needs to come.
That's fair.
There is nothing.
Yeah, because she's obviously so jealous, and I don't even understand why at this point. Even though I guess it was like some valid things with the handicap match thing, but yeah, I mean, let her break off of Indy, do her thing, and like I don't know, you like Duke at this point, and we all know what Duke's been going through. I don't even think Indy had to tell you he was trouble. I mean, like you see what he's been doing? Poor Dante Chin. Anyway, the tag match though was decent. Like, and I like the superior teamwork that Toxic Attraction, showed. And like for some Persia, like you said, like she green sometimes, and sometimes she do like $1 million. I don't know. Like it's funny to me how it is, but like so like maybe that's why the turn is taking its time. You know what I mean? They're trying to give her more and more reps. And, a tag team match is a good way to protect her. So I think that's probably what's going on with Persia before she turns on Indy because it's obviously coming because, yeah.
I mean, this was acceptable, but nothing special.
Yeah, fine.
Grayson Waller walked out with 2 police officers, I'm sure they were police officers. They were relevant talent in black shirts. Showing video evidence of LA Knight violating the restraining order. The $1 Million Megastar showed his own video evidence of Waller violating his restraining order, and the police officers left. Knight took out Waller, and they announced they would fight next week. The only positive I could take from this is nobody has had a bigger 180 in NXT in the past year than LA Knight. I mean, the most hated guy in NXT by a country mile, and now the fans finish his catchphrase like it's The Rock.
Yeah. No, it's serious. It's serious. And then think about it. Like we talked about, that's why I actually really, really love your pick. I don't know if you said it was feud of the year or rivalry or storyline of the year, but Cameron Grimes and LA Knight, like looking at where both of them are at, you know what I mean? With the crowd and just the positioning, like it's amazing what, how, like you said, that 180 and like, where LA Knight is now, and yeah, I love it. I actually like it because I've been here, like we've been here since its inception, so it kind of makes you proud, like you had something like, this is
it's our baby.
Proud.
Yeah,
right. You know what I mean? Especially when you think about the revolving door that has been NXT. Like we've lost a lot of people that we hold dear to on this NXT roster. So you want to cradle the feud, like Pete Dunne. We want to protect Pete Dunne. We gotta cradle the feud that we still have.
That's the problem when you listen to everybody leaves. That's kind of what happens.
Right?
We try and keep them. NXT North American Championship next. Carmelo Hayes, the champ, versus Cameron.
Oh, man.
Grimes.
I love this match.
Hayes wore down Grimes with a focused technical offense, hoping to take advantage of his own impressive stamina. Trick Williams helped as well, taking cheap shots on Grimes behind the ref's back. And Technical Savage tried to get back into the action, but ran right into a springboard crossbody for a near fall. With spin outside slam, and he took the win. He hit a big diving crossbody for a near fall that the crowd thought was job done. Grimes caught Trick with caving on the outside, but Trick got involved enough to make sure Melo had a crossface on Grimes that left the challenger vulnerable off the top. for the diving leg drop for the win. I mean, the crowd wanted it. I wanted it. I know I'm not going to put anything in your mouth, but I'm sure you wanted Grimes to get the victory. But again, this was a great match, and can you really argue when someone like Hayes, is delivering like this?
No way. Because I'm with you. Like, part of me, I love Cameron Grimes. I wouldn't have been hurt if Cameron Grimes won that match. No, not at all. Because not only that, I also know the trajectory that Carmelo Hayes is on, and I can see him being NXT champ. Like, I've already said it in my mind that if they continue to book him a certain way, he'll be NXT champion by the end of this year. So for that to happen, he would have to lose it. And losing it to Grimes, I wouldn't be mad at that at all. But anyway, besides that, I love everything Melo. Like, Melo, man, he's on a run. And I don't know, like, people, it's going under the radar maybe, but like anytime it's a big match, whether it's been these title matches, whether it was the breakout tournament match, before we even got to 2.0 and all of that, everything he has been doing has been top notch. And this match was, and like we love Cameron Grimes here. And like you said, the crowd, all of us wanted Grimes, to win, and because we know what he can do. And this is another masterclass in a big match or a big spot for Cameron Grimes, in my opinion. So, like, these are two of the main reasons why I still enjoy NXT. These two guys. So I was invested in everything from the start, and it's just nothing Melo can do. It's nothing he can't do in that ring, and he gets better. It seems like he's getting better every way, and he's already scary good, in my opinion. And Grimes has one of the most innovative and diverse. They used to say that about Chris Kane because he came up with creative spots and all that, and that's the same thing with Cameron Grimes. For somebody who does not look like a super athlete, he is so innovative when it comes to his moves, and I think him and Melo just went for it, and I just love this match. I really, really loved it. They put on a show. I don't think this should have been on free TV. That's how much I loved it. Like, I like, this is like network live event special, or you know what I mean, like pay-per-view type special. Like, to me, I was into it. I loved it, and this the type of match that help you ignore all of the horrible stuff that happens on 2.0 on a weekly basis. Like, you don't care about Devon Wagner's, Grayson Waller's less annoying. All that stuff does not matter when stuff like that is going on NXT, because I thought this was just like NXT 2.0 at its best.
Well, this is the thing, and this is what I've tried to do this month, which I do for till 2.0 doesn't annoy me so much, is that I'm just going to pretend it didn't happen. Any of the bad stuff, I'm just going to focus on the stuff that I didn't mind. Right. This felt like the old NXT with these two, and then we see Pete Dunne giving congratulations to Melo backstage, and clearly are in the NXT North American Championship, and what a match that will be as well. We then see a great vignette of Kaylee Ray teaching Io how to have fun with a baseball bat, which
I did enjoy it.
I mean, they are just a great tag team already. And speaking of teams, the Dusty Tag Team Classic Final, MSK versus the Creed Brothers. We see Malcolm Bivens pumping up with Judas and Brutus before, walking out, telling this is their moment that Diamond Maiden were made. Like the Never Give Up towel, and of course, but the other side, just give up.
Right. You should.
This is why he was my manager of the year last year, you see. This is what he's
I don't blame you. I love
it. MSK the theme in their entrance as well. But the Creed Brothers started off hot with Judas, especially took over after he sent Wesley face first into the announce table after taking a beat down. Lee flipped Nash Carter onto Judas outside, followed by a combination senton bomb and corkscrew bomb. Carter and Lee worked together for a combination double foot stomp that would have taken the win if Brutus had not broken it up. Judas caught Carter diving and slammed him to the floor, followed with a low running clothesline for the win. And yes, the Creed Brothers are your Dusty Tag Team Champion, or Dusty Tag Team Classic winners, even, of 2022. What did you think of this?
Yeah, I thought this was cool, man. It had some hellacious moments, and I guess that can be expected with the teams involved. We know what the Creed Bros can do at MSK. Again, like we said, very, very, good and established in the NXT. And, it wasn't really a drawn-out type of match that I probably assumed it was going to be, but it was still fun, man. And, the right team won. I don't think it's anyone in NXT 2.0 right now like the Creeds, in the way they wrestle. That's the one thing that they have going for them is how unique or at least their aggressiveness and just the way they wrestle is like that. Like I liked it, and if anybody should take the belts off Imperium, if they were going to, we don't know if that's going to be the case. But if anybody could do it, it would be them. And I thought this was well deserved for the Creed Bros. So, and like I said, beating last year's winners, beating MSK, a team who's been number one for a while in NXT, just cemented even further.
Yeah, I think without doubt, a really fun match. Like I said, could have done with a little bit longer. Wesley is just shit hot and everything he does as well. I feel, the way he sells and moves. Creed's starting to get comfortable, but I mean the list of great NXT tag teams that have a roster, and I was trying to look at this. Mm-hmm. Well, everybody apart from the Street Profits, and you're going to say about the War Raiders, but they're going to be the next round of cuts. You know this. Like no one has made it as an NXT tag team. No one, apart from the Profits. Yeah. So something's got to be done about that.
I didn't even think about this.
It's like, depressing.
You remember the Ascension and oh my god, AOP? Yeah. Oh my goodness!
I mean, everybody, even like Heavy Machinery and American Alpha, they just split them up, put them together.
American Alpha.
Oh my goodness. FTR never made it.
DIY never made it.
Well, even Authors of Pain, Sanity. From that era.
Oh my goodness! It just didn't even use Sanity. Just had them on the roster. Didn't even do it.
Undisputed Era. Everything.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, that is unbelievably. I think that's an underrated trend. Like I hear about the NXT champions who ended up released and some of these other things, like the people who just failed as call-ups in general. But I did not think about just how many tag teams have fallen by the wayside. Man, that is crazy.
So many great tag teams in NXT. Speaking of great tag team, Imperium took the ring and warned the Creed brothers that they were still not ready to be the NXT tag team champions. Walter told Bron, Breakker and Santos he'd be watching the main event. Solo Sikoa interrupted to challenge Volta. Volta wants to be called Gunther. The crowd don't want to call him it. No one wants to call him it. But Solo versus Volta, I am actually in. I'm
down.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm really excited. I love Solo. I love them giving him this spot. It's just like it just shows you that they know that he is right in, like I told you, in that same echelon with Bron and Carmelo and some of these top tier newer faces that I think are really ready for the big time. And I think putting them in the ring with somebody like Volta is only going to be a positive. It doesn't matter what happens. But like a big competitive, explosive match like that, oh man, it's gonna be great.
Well, we then see Tommaso Ciampa refusing to be looked down upon by anybody on Monday Night Raw or Friday Night SmackDown, especially Dolph Ziggler. He warned the show to pay close attention to the main event. Ziggler promised in an interview that he would defeat Ciampa next week, and the main event, the NXT title on the line, Bron Breakker versus Santos Escobar. And Escobar looked like he was outmatched early, but he managed to get some space and hit a tope outside that left Bron Breakker vulnerable. He threw the champion into steel stairs and hit a net breaker back in the ring. The challenge uses steel outside and technical holds inside to grind down every limb of the champion. There was one point he was stretching him on the ring post, and I weren't sure what he was doing, but I just went with it anyway. Breakker began to make a comeback, but Legado got involved in the chaos. Ziggler super kick champion, and the fans again thought it was his job done. But Breakker kicking out, Ciampa attacking Ziggler, sent him to the back. Escobar hit a tilt-well DDT, but missed a frog splash. And I should say his tribute to Eddie Guerrero, because I think it was.
Yeah, that was really, really great.
The anniversary of Eddie beating Brock for the WWE Championship. Might be wrong, but it's around that time as well. I think it's like stupid, like 18 years, which is just crazy when you think about it. And then we see Breakker spearing him, hitting a military press power slam for the win and retaining the NXT title. What did you think of this main event?
Man, this was pretty good. I really liked it. I loved it, like you said, the Eddie inspired gear and his logo with the Legado del Fantasma with them kind of in the old LWO colors. That was really, really cool. But yeah, man, when Ziggler interfered towards the end, it knocked that match because like you said earlier, and then through the middle of the match, it was good, but it wasn't really that intense. But when that interference happened and Ziggler, had me believing, oh my goodness, they just screwed Breaker, that was just a really, really well executed false finish because I wasn't expecting Ziggler to do that. And you have everything that happened after that, and like Santos, which is really great. Santos was great throughout. It seemed to be going in a typical route, and then it just went into like a main event level atmosphere after that towards the end. Maybe I was still stuck on that North American title match, but either way it goes, this was really good. I didn't have a problem with it, and Breaker is he's just a beast, and I thought he still ended up looking good in the way this match turned out. So this was a good first defense on his run. We'll see where it goes from here.
Yeah, about that. Like I said, great main event. Legado have been so consistent, and I wouldn't mind seeing. I think hopefully we should see a fatal four-way between all four at a takeover.
Yeah,
I think even though we're not going to call it takeover anymore, but the next premium live event or something like that. But I thought Vengeance Day. Like we said, we had War Games, which was like a proper takeover. We had Is Evil, which was okay with a new champion, and then of course Vengeance Day. I thought it was a good show overall, and there are positives to take, I think would be fair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2.0 is improving in my opinion. I think the quality of matches on TV, because I remember we were watching it in this exception, it was nothing but squash matches, bad vignettes, bad introductions, stuff you just didn't care about. And I think they've done a great job of cutting a lot of the stuff you don't care about out, but it is also still, problems there, and like you said, issues, things that you could care less about it. But I think they've been much more watchable, than they were. Like I'm really just only comparing NXT 2.0 to itself. I'm not really even trying to look at it in comparison to an AEW or look at it in the comparison to Raw and SmackDown. Even though I do think it's some elements of NXT that are better than the main roster still. So that's kind of cool when some of those matches, like come on, that like Mello and Cameron Grimes, some of the quality of some of the matches that we saw during these episodes of NXT, they are some top notch stuff no matter, what it is. But how everybody is horny in 2.0 and then the overall show just being, like I said, weird at times. Like sometimes it's paced really, really well and you see, well, okay, this is really good stuff. And then they throw in stuff that you just could care less about. And but I tried, like I said, still giving them time, but I have to give them a nod and say, yes, they're definitely improved if you think about what they were a few months ago.
Yeah, I think without doubt. It'd be interesting to see, because a lot have been talking about NXT as well with Vengeance Day, and it drew 525,000 viewers, and people saying, well, it's one of the lowest ratings they've ever done, which, is fair play, to say that, but compare it even to the old NXT, with this time last year it being on Sci-Fi and of course everything else going along, that's what the show was getting. So NXT now has reached 800,000 every now and again, but you are looking at 600,000 even with a special show. So this is saying that the thing is with WWE, and the thing that worries me with 50-50 booking and everything that goes on is if they're going to go 2.0, they need to stick with it. If they end up changing it and mucking around, then we're just going to, go into another program, another change, and it's just not going to be work right. Next week's show is back on USA, America. You've got Dolph Ziggler versus Ciampa, Waller versus Knight, and the Women's Dusty Cup starting, which should be big. And of course, we'll bring all that next month. But it's not, boring NXT 2.0. I think there's enough, like you said, I think we've got to take the negatives out and just focus on the positives for now, and then we can look at it as a show overall after a little while.
I wish we could concise it down to an hour again. It need to go back to an hour like back in the early days of Black and Gold, if you know what I mean, or like NXT UK. And maybe I've just fall in love with their pacing, but anyway.
Well, like I said, next time we'll check it out. It should be good as well. But that is 2.0 for now. So we move on now to NXT UK. We're going to look at it in full. Last time out, Monty, we had Mustache Mountain winning the tag team titles, Volta's last stand, and Blair coming up short against Miko. So what would happen this month? We have 5 episodes to catch up on, so let's get straight to it. January 20th, Andy Shepherd and Nigel McGuinness calling the action. We see some clips of Sam Gradwell trying and failing to find a mystery partner to face Pretty Deadly. He even sent tweets to Steve Austin, Elon Musk, Paul McCartney. Gradwell also had to beat up Kenny Williams for laughing at him. I mean, this story, don't get me wrong, I am a very close supporter of Sam Gradwell, but this is a great story on Twitter as well.
Oh my goodness. I chuckled. I was killing myself laughing at him bothering people. You know, he just bothering people and forgetting the stuff with A Kid. Like, how do you forget that you were talking about this man in the country? Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was priceless. I was laughing. I loved it. Stone Cold, Paul McCartney, Elon Musk. It was just well done, man. It was hilariously well done.
Well, I said I wouldn't mind being a partner as long as I could stand on the apron and just watch the thunderstorm and all his greatness.
Yeah, I was wondering, did he contact you? He's on Twitter,
Well, I don't want to say me and him are pretty tight, as you know. But could he find a tag partner against Pretty Deadly? Could, but unfortunately it was Saxon Huxley. I was a better choice. But like I said, it was a great story. Even going through a drive-through, I don't know if you saw this, but he asked someone at McDonald's if he could join him on Thursday for a fight, and actually broke character whilst doing it, which was great. As for the match itself, Pretty Deadly work on Huxley. Hot Tag brings in Gradwell to clean house. Everything breaks down and Stoker blasts Gradwell with a forearm for the double knockdown. Cue Kenny Williams for a distraction low, and Huxley's knocks off the apron. Williams runs over him on the floor, meaning there's no one for Gradwell to tag. Howley comes back in it, and it's spilled milk to finish Gradwell. You bloody scum. It was Yes Boy versus the Yogurts. What did you think of this?
Yeah, the match was okay. I didn't have a problem with it. I actually was surprised that the makeshift team of Huxley and Gradwell did as well as they did against the former champ. But, the scum of the earth, once again, living up to that name. I think I say in every review, and he does a really good job. Like, that's one of the most on-point wrestling nicknames in wrestling, because it's not much that he's definitely scum in his activities on the show. But, yeah, living up to his name and costing them in the end, this was decent. I didn't have a problem with it, and I knew that we had more to come because, of course, with the interference and all of this that was going on. But man, I really like the match itself. Like I said, was really fine. But that video package and everything, I was really, really feeling good after that. It was just cool. I was having fun at that point. But that video package really cracked me up. I'm not trying to stay stuck on it, but I just wasn't expecting it. It was really well done.
He's comedy gold. Gradwell is comedy gold.
Yeah.
And turning Sam's face is great as well because
I think it was a great idea.
It's just something about him that is just so likeable as well. Jenny doesn't see hope when she looks at Amel. Instead, pity. The two of them are very different people because Jenny doesn't exploit her past to get the fans to cheer for her. The fans are just like Amel, nothing. Now Amel wants to get famous off Jenny, and that isn't happening. Just great stuff from Jenny. There's nothing else to say, really. We get videos on Emilia versus Gallus as the two teams are ready to destroy each other next week. I can't wait for that. And Blair Davenport unlocks a gate at what appears to be a family estate. She's the latest in a long line of Davenports, and everyone isn't one of them is an enemy you can hate and reject all you want as long as you fear her.
That's a lot of enemies.
Yeah, because that more should fear her because it's time for the Davenport to show how she can be. And this is another great thing. It's a little bit of character development, showing what a Davenport is meant to be and, just cementing that. And then up next, Emilia Mckenzie versus Isla Dawn. Of course, this is the fallout from Dawn taking Mackenzie's watch from a special box. Mackenzie takes her down on a hammerlock to start and then cracks on a wrist lock. We see a middle rope sunset flip, giving Mckenzie 2. And then Scurry staggers Dawn again. The spear gives Mckenzie 2, so she sends Dawn outside for a big suicide dive back in. And a high crossbody misses for Mckenzie, allowing Dawn to hit a fireman's spun into a side slam for the pin, and even nicer than that, Dawn gave her watch back. I thought this was a fun match. The women's division has got so many feuds and different characters.
Yes, I love it, man. They have a lot of stuff going on, and it all makes sense. And even this, it was just not bad at all. We all know what Isla has been on recently. She's been, doing her weird witch thing, and the continuation of that. And it's what I've come to expect from Isla too, as far as like being in the ring. Still being weird, but winning as of late. And I do like the little theme that, maybe her time holding property of her opponents or whatever power and, thing, her pagan rituals, whatever that does for her has been giving her a boost and to rack up some wins. So I don't know where that's going to go. I don't know, what it'll culminate to. But, this was fun, like you said.
Like I said, Dawn wins again. Will Mckenzie gets frustrated, does the questions. Mel doesn't think much of Ginny and suggests bringing it. We get video really Dragunov versus Jordan Devlin, with Dragunov being angry over everything Devlin has said. Devlin wants to start when Dragunov wants revenge. So next week, it's an empty arena match. Charles Samuels has got the money out. He's got it round 4, 11-1. That's what he's backing in the Heritage Cup match with A-Kid versus Dar. Of course, Dar is defending champ. Round 1 begins with a feeling out process, include A-Kid taking him to the ropes where Dar needs a breather. Headlock takeover works a bit better for Dar, so it's time for some early grappling. Dar can't get very far with his escape attempts, and the round ends with A-Kid cranking away. Round 2 begins with A-Kid grabbing a cravat, taking Dar down. Back up, Dar goes after the arm for grabbing a headlock of his own. We see a European clutch for 2. A-Kid grabs a front facelock and clanks away until the round ends. Into round 3 begins with Dar for a change and sending a charge at A-Kid over the top. A kick to the face from the draping DDT position rocks A-Kid. Some knees to the face make it work. So Nova Roller is blocked. Zadar kicks a leg out instead. And now the Nova Roller can finish A-Kid for the first 1 minute 36 of the round and 8 minutes 32. Round 4 begins with Dar going right after him but getting pulled into an armbar. That's broken up with Dar hits him in the face. Set up a roll up with the feet on the ropes for 2. The referee catches the nefarious cheating. Sends him outside, only to have Samuels break up the big dive. They both beat the clock back in where Dar elbows him in the face. A-Kid fights back, so Samuel gets on the apron, only to have A-Kid springboard up, hit a moonsault DDT to plant Dar for the tying pin of 2:34 of the round. Samuel screams a lot as he's just lost everything because of his bets, even as Dar is barely able to stand. And the move looked beautiful as well from A-Kid jumping across. Really good stuff.
Yeah.
And then round 5 begins with A-Kid missing a charge, getting knocked. Dar on top, hits a butterfly suplex for 2. They trade attempted arm bars. So A-Kid grabs a German suplex. Dar blocks another one low, pushed into an armbar to be countered. The round ends before the count with Dar getting it. But we see the submission transitions were excellent in the 5th round. It kind of changed up a little bit. And then round 6, and again, really good stuff by the 2. The Nova Roller is cut off with a jumping super kick to give A-Kid 2. With 30 seconds to go, Dar hits him in the face for 2, but gets pulled into the omoplata as time expires to end round 6, meaning Dar retains the cup. I mean, post-match Samuels is crushed over being poor, but celebrates with Dar to end the show. Before I get your thoughts on the match, my favourite chant might be da 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 da. It's just simple and effective. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Shah is the perfect corner man. What did you think?
Yes. And he showed it in this match. He is the perfect corner man. I agree 100%. Man, I like A-Kid. I want to start by pointing out that I do like A-Kid, but I came into this match very biased. And whenever Noam Dar is on the card, I'm rooting. I'm not being very, very unbiased at all. So, A-Kid, I definitely was rooting against you. But, I was excited to see, man, how their history, because, they mentioned A-Kid beat him in the original tournament. So, I was excited to see, what happened is in this match as a fan, also. So, but this match was just a masterclass, honestly. I just sat back and I just enjoyed these guys doing what they do, and Shah Samuels, like you said, greatest corner man ever. Like, he's just that dive spot and then his reaction after being broke and how animated he was, and I understood. You lose a fortune, I get it, but he sold it perfectly, and he cracked me up. And the match was just tremendous. It was tremendous. And since I've been reviewing this, neither of these guys have had a bad match, in my opinion, really. So this was no exception, And I thought this is how you book a draw. I've seen draws be underwhelming. I don't think I felt dissatisfied with the way it happened. I was already ready to see it again after it happened.
Well, this is the thing. Both men looked like they actually disliked each other, and A-Kid a little bit cocky at times as well during the match. But like I said, a sensational main event. Not many draws get a standing ovation, and it's really good to hear you say as well. Really nice to think, because I'm so into NXT UK. Sometimes I think it might be a bit biased, but it's good that you're seeing the same thing as I am from A-Kid.
Oh no, this is great
as well. Yeah. We'll move on. January 27th, and the video package hype for tonight's huge main event. Until the usual opening intro rolls, which is not the same as the old theme. It wouldn't be NXT if I didn't say that. In the arena, Emilia enters the studio in the first match of the night. Emilia versus Gallus. Raja avoids the Glasgow send-off and drops Joe with a backstabber, tagging in Dempsey. Joe tags in Mark. Gallus connects with a total elimination for 2, but Tierman jumps Joe out the ring. He kicks Joe in the face. Mark blasts Tierman off the apron, and Mark hits a double-handed chop and tags in Wolfgang, but Raja pulls Mark out of the ring. Wolfgang goes for the power slam, but Tierman counters with a chop block. Dempsey makes Wolfgang tap out to the STF, and we just talked about it on NXT. We're getting on NXT UK as well. Gallus had been the firm around for years, and now we've finally seen this new. And what an unbelievable match! And Gallus tapping out,
Yeah, man, what a statement, this was for the Familia in my De Familia. De Familia. I don't know. I'll be saying it in all types of different ways. But anyway, this was a good match to kick off the show. And, Dempsey, really benefited here from Dempsey and of course the Familia really benefited here from this victory, because we know what Gallus is all about. Like you said, they have been the gold standard of, if you want to talk about factions or you want to talk about 3-man or more than 2 people when it comes to NXT UK, and just being what they are. They are we know what they are. We know who Gallus is and what they mean to NXT UK. So, like you said, for that to happen, and then for it to be a submission to make, and for Dempsey to make another Gallus member tap out, his second one now. So it's just like it meant a lot in my opinion. I think it's the right thing to do, because you need to establish this new, family and this new faction in this situation. I have no problem with that, and yeah, like, can you believe it? I think it was a big victory, and it was due, and like you gotta believe they look at Dempsey and see a future, world champion.
Yeah, without that, he is just on point at this moment in time. We get a promo package with Jack Styles and Dave Matt exchange words with Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter ahead of their upcoming NXT UK Tag Team Championship #1 contendership match. We see backstage Jordan Devlin is shown loosen up in the locker room. Ginny struts away to the arena. It's time for NXT UK Women's Division action. Ginny versus Amel, and Ginny punches Amel in the ribs and kicks her in the gut. But Amel nails Ginny with a running pump kick. Ginny with 2 sharp elbows. Amel hits a Bridget Northern Light suplex for 2. And Ginny denies the Hope Breaker and continues to hammer down the back of Amel's neck, using the middle rope for leverage to pick up the victory. I don't know about you, but both women have got this fire of like this intensity. I just can't quite put a finger on it. You would not want to get in an argument with them, I think it would be fair to say.
Oh yeah, I agree. It's like the way Amel, like the passion she wrestles with the screams and all of that, and even with and Jenny, like the attitude. They both have that, like you said, that fire. And but no, I enjoyed the build of this match too. By the way, when Jenny was making her doing her heel promos, and she made some really good points, and even like why she's annoyed with the male story and all of that. So I was really looking forward to the match, and I thought this was okay. And I like how Jenny won the match too, because it just really fit her character. Usually, you don't really care for those type of victories. The only thing I didn't really like was that I thought the ref was like in perfect view to see that she had the leverage advantage. But whatever. These refs are blind. That ain't nothing new. That's a wrestling folklore at this point. So.
Well, but even
cool.
looking at these two, you think it won't be long for either to be maybe called up, especially if Ginny and Walter's relationship becomes more serious as well. I think they're quite ready,
Yeah.
I mean, Ginny's knee's so vicious, the ground and pound, and we just don't see it, I think, enough in especially women's matches. And it's good that the feud maybe is getting started as well.
Yeah.
Excuse me. We see Andy and Nigel hype next week's Nxt UK Women's Championship clash between Miko Satomore and Blair Davenport, which will be contested under Japanese street fight rules. The Nxt UK Women's Champion and the challenger exchange words in a promo package, and then the NXT Universe is shown leaving the studio per the request of Jordan Devlin. In the locker room, Nathan Fraser relives his loss to Walter until Dean Familiar steps in to confront him, and Andy has a serious voice when he explains the rules of the main event with the NXT Championship, Ilya Dragunov versus Jordan Devlin. But before it even starts, Devlin headbutts Dragunov and hits him with a ground and pound attack and posing with the NXT UK title, with Devlin being in control. I'd probably say the majority of this match. We see Devlin connect with Murphy's Law for 2. He argues with the ref, giving Dragunov a chance to get back in this, but Devlin still continues with the club and L smashes and the fish hooks to Dragunov as well. Dragunov managed to hit a running Death Valley driver for a table for a 2 count, but Devlin talks smacks to Dragunov and headbutts him again, and with Jordan Devlin's head, a headbutt is a very dangerous move as well. Devlin zip ties Dragunov's hands behind his back and goes to the ground and pound attack. We see 2 chair shots as well, but Dragunov avoids the concerto, and with a leaping head kick, he then plants Devlin with a torpedo Moscow to pick up the victory. We talked about Dunn being able to do a lot cable tied. Again, Dragunov proving here he doesn't even need 2 arms to beat Devlin. I thought this was a great match, though, because with no fan, you could hear every grunt, strike, and shot, and is just so visual,
I agree. This match had a different vibe from that opening head, but like you mentioned, it was the match's intensity was off the charts. And even knowing, even if I didn't watch the few episodes before and heard the promo that Jordan Devlin was cutting on Ilya Dragunov and his family, just knowing a little bit about the story, the intensity that personal build that led to this match, I think that was just perfect. It was just perfect the way they did this. The banter was funny, even when I didn't understand Dragunov. You just tell through his passion, through just his passion, you can tell what was going on. And he is very animated. No one works like that. No one screams, and I don't care what you say. If you're watching that match and you listening to the way, Dragunov is selling and some of the ways he was just grunting in pain, is how could you don't change the channel on somebody like that if you see what I'm trying to say. It was so compelling in my opinion, and like you said, the screams and pain, it just worked. It worked in this match. I never really thought about how good of an empty arena could be for personal type blow off matches, and I thought this was really, really great. It was an extreme level of brutality, especially like you said, once his arms were restrained, it looked like things were going to get pretty bad. But when he got out of there, the way they set up the finish, all that was well executed. And I didn't want to mention it earlier because I knew we had to talk about this. But since Pete Dunne did his after this, did he watch this match and they got a little bit inspired? You know what I mean? I'm thinking of it now that I think about it, because I think this match was a couple weeks or something before that. So, anyway, that was just me thinking about it when I saw it. But either way it go, this was great.
We cannot confirm or deny.
Yeah, we don't know, but it was great. Either way it go.
If anybody's looking at NXT UK, though, will be done.
It's probably Pete. Right.
With being so visual, you just get behind him in this. But Devlin did great. Ever since he's come back from America after the Cruiserweight title run, he's become a star. There is a star
and he looked tough
him.
As hell. He was in there. He kicked out some stuff where it's really? You know what I mean? So Devlin came out of this looking great, too, in my opinion.
And the other thing as well, people talk about WWE repeating matches. The empty arena match, the last time was 23 years previously with, of course, Mankind. And
another great one.
A bit of history there. We get to the 3rd of February, the first match, Dave Mastiff and Jack Stars versus Ashley Smith, Lord of Carter in the finals of the London Contendership Tournament for the WNXT UK Tag Team Championship. That might be the longest paragraph I ever have read. But Mustache Mountain joined the commentary team for this match. Mastiff and Smith are tagged in. Mastiff with a overhead belly-to-belly suplex, headbutting the midsection of Carter. And Mastiff sends Carter crashing to the outside, but he ignores Stars. He goes for Into the Void, but Smith ducks out of the way. He tags in Carter and Carter with a shotgun Meteora. Smith clotheslines Mastiff, and then Smith and Carter connect with the assisted moonsault to pick up the victory. This was maybe a little bit surprising. Maybe Mastiff will soon turn on Stars. But I'm a fan of Smith and Carter. I think they're improving every week. What were your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, I think Smith and Carter look like you said better every time I see them, and this was just really good and smart, logical stuff in my opinion. Because I think even on commentary when Mustache Mountain joined Nigel and Nigel and them on commentary, they mentioned it that Carter and Smith had more of a tenure as a team, and usually the more cohesive team wins these matches. And that one moment of not being on the same page or whatever, or actually a couple moments, because it was a couple moments where he didn't tag in Jack Stars for something. He didn't tag in Stars for some reason. I have no reason. I really didn't even understand it at the time, but obviously they have trust issues or whatever. And that was an important moment in the match. So once he ignored him, I knew the more he ignored him, the more it would probably come back on him. And the upset, I guess, if you want to call it that, was in. And I have no problem with it because, like you said, Carter and Smith are only getting better. I think them and Mustache Mountain will have a compelling match for the titles. And this is positive. I don't know. And like you said, maybe Masters and Stars break up or whatever is coming down. Maybe it makes them stronger as a team down the line. They they get over their trust issues. Who knows? But again, it's just another one of those things where you want to see where the story goes, and I think NXT UK do a really good job of keeping everything simple and just going to the next logical step in the story. In my opinion, I think that's what this was.
Yeah, I think without a doubt, it's interesting to see what happens. But the thing with Dave Mastiff is that if you want a tag team partner, don't pick a jobber. Don't pick Stars. Go for, do you know what I mean? Pick either dragon.
Yeah, especially if you're gonna pick the jobber and then have issues with working with the jobber. Like,
you're shit.
Okay,
yeah, we know he's shit.
Right.
He's been losing all his matches. That's what he does. A-Kid tried to teach Saxon Huxley some etiquette. All I'm gonna say is this is the most 2.0. It's the most 2.0 thing ever on the show. I think would be fair to say.
That's probably true. But I did enjoy it because I didn't even understand its purpose. And it was just it was so, I don't know why it made me chuckle because I was like, why? Because that's the only thing I was just like, why is this happening? What do they even have in common that led him to be like, you know what? I'm going to try to civilize Huxley. Like, I don't know.
No, it didn't make any sense. And then Nathan Fraser was jumped by Emilia in the parking lot. And then we get Isla Dawn versus Myla Grace, with Dawn standing on Gracie's back, tugging her hair, dropping her a running knee strike. We get a forearm exchange, though, with Dawn reversing out of an Irish whip from Grace. But Grace did hit a tilt-wall head scissors and blocks a boot from Dawn as well, and hit the Tornado DDT for a 2 count. Dawn with a heavy body shorts hits a roundhouse kick, connects with a swinging side slam to pick up the victory. I think it was good stuff. Dawn just picking up the wins. Looks like she might be a challenger down the road. Yeah,
that's exactly what I was thinking, man. And Myla Grace looked capable here. She's a capable new face, so. But this went predictably how we probably figured it would. And, I don't know where we're going with this with Isla, but like you said, she's picking up steam, victory after victory. So, it has to lead to a title shot or some type of encounter down the line that will make this more than just picking up victory. She'll get into a storyline before you know it.
Well, Britain's favourite TV presenter Nina Samuels picked up a fight with Amel backstage. Amel told her to settle it in the ring.
Everyone is picking a fight with Amel, by the way.
It's just,
all she did was tell her story, and it's like, you know what?
To be fair,
screw
Nina
you.
didn't do a lot wrong. She asked a couple of questions. Like I said, Amel would fight anybody, I reckon. So Nina, you could ask, "How are you?" She's like, "Yeah, I'll fight you next." And it's like, what the fuck?
Amel was like, the people what about you and these people in your community? And you look like an absolute, like you hopeless is what she said. You look hopeless. But you're telling me Nina Samuels didn't do anything that would have offended her.
Well,
yeah, she's just a great journalist.
She's a good journalist. Sam Gradwell knows not everyone likes him, but he's not a cockroach who will run from a fight, and Kenny Williams is the next target. Gallus want in on Supernova Sessions, but Dar and Shah turned them down in favour of Jordan Devlin. And also next week, Tierman faces Nathan Fraser. But the main event was the Nxt Uk Women's Championship Japanese Street Fight, Mika Satomura versus Blair Davenport. And Satomura wisely headed to the outside. Davenport sent Satomura chest first into the barricade. Satomura with 3 sharp elbow strikes and the overhead kick as well, followed by the mid kick. Satomura then goes, "That's not enough," and wraps a steel chain around the boot with a chain assisted mid kick. But then Davenport repeatedly whips Satomura with a kendo stick, kicks her in the face, brings out a trash can. She rolls more chairs and kendo sticks into the ring, and she puts Satomura's fingers inside the turnbuckle bar, but Satomura manages to fight out. We see Davenport with more clubbing kendo shot sticks, and when Davenport applies the kendo stick clutch, as it's called, Davenport collects a flying double foot stomp on a ring apron, but as she goes off the top, looks like she's favouring her left ankle, which forces the referee to call for the match, and Davenport put the stretcher to close. First off, before we get to the instant, hard hitting would be an understatement between these two women up until that point.
Yes, physical. Very, very physical. Definitely a Japanese street fight. I loved it. It was intense, and, I was glad that the audience who were unfamiliar with just how Blair Davenport, how long her mean streak goes, you know what I mean? Because, she can really go there, and, she was starting to show just, how brutal she can be, and Mako was being creative also, like you mentioned, nunchucks and chains at times. But yeah, man, what a shame. What a shame the way this match ended.
Yeah, it's a damn shame she was injured. It's not the first time this has happened in Nxt Uk. I mean, especially me showing you for the past year or so. We've seen here dragging off, Massive and of course Rampage Brown as well. And this is just unfortunate. Blair screaming on the landing, because you always wonder, is this going to be a part of the story or not? And with the screams and the replays, I still believe Blair might dethrone the champ, but it looks like she'd be away.
She's going to have to wait. And that's another thing. It was looking like it was going to go her way. I agree. It really was looking like this was probably going to go her way. It's going to probably be a big moment for her, in a big spot. And like you said, but when I saw that replay, I just seen it, and it was just not only did it the ankle, looked how it did, but she all the weight fell on it. So it was just, it looked very bad. So, it was good stuff up to that point too. So, man, it was just such a shame. But, that is this business, and that is how it goes. And like you said, not the first time we've seen it, and it won't be the last time. We hope that when we're being entertained by these, ladies and gentlemen, that this does not happen, but yeah, it was sad, man, because like I said, it looked like they were doing really well before that.
We'll move on February 10th, our penultimate episode of Nxt Uk. Andy Shepherd and Nigel McGuinness, of course, on commentary. And Mel versus Nina Samuels to start. The two went back and forth early before Samuels evaded a running kick to the corner by rolling to the ringside. She'd be up and Mel on the outside and continued onslaught in the ring. She hit a twisting slingshot splash for near fall and locked in a chin lock, but Mel came back with a clothesline and a senton. She eventually hit the running knee into the corner, followed by the Hope Breaker for the pin. I thought this was a good opener. I'm a fan of both.
Yeah, this is really, really good. Like I said, and I'm digging this a male push. Like I said, I mentioned that everybody has a problem with the male, but I like it. Especially when you think about when I first encountered her, I didn't really know that she would actually turn out to be a person that's perfect for a babyface push. Not only because of her background, but like even her name. You know what I mean? Can make her a great babyface, and and what it translates to. So it makes her character very, very strong. And like I said, I think Nina Samuels is great. I think we both have talked about that, how highly we think of Nina. And she did a good job trying to spoil Amel's momentum here. But this was just really good. I thought this was solid. I didn't have a problem with this at all. Like I said, I like both ladies, and I think they did what they needed to do.
Everything worked out. There's more etiquette training with Aiken and Saxon Huxley. Kid trying to teach him to say, "The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain." And Huxley screamed the lyrics and mixed them up. As Akid left, he calmly correctly recited them.
Mm-hmm.
As Akid and a very nice man, when Akid returned, he screamed again. I don't know what they're trying. I really don't. No answers. Dar and Shah entered their dressing room. Someone snuck up behind them, stole the Heritage Cup trophy, and locked them in the room as they screamed. Well, I say so, again, I don't want to because I don't want to be anti-Gallus, but I would say that they did steal this item and lock them in there as well. But again, I don't want to be biased.
Got that confirmed pretty quickly, dude.
A recap of last week's match between Blair Davenport and Miko, where of course Davenport hurt. There was no medical update because, of course, it was all taped on the same day. Clip air from last week's tag team tournament finals as well. We see Ashton Smith and Oliver Carter confronting Mustache Mountain. The teams were friendly, but Mustache Mountain told them that they would be on top for the foreseeable future. That match will take place in 2 weeks. And it wasn't the Supernova Sessions. It was Gallus Boys on top with Jordan Devlin. They hijacked our show and branded it Gallus Boys on top. Mark Coffey was host with Joe and Wolfgang on the couch. They called out Joan and Devlin. Devlin was annoyed, but Coffey promised to conduct the interview as a professional. They asked Devlin what was next after losing to Ilya Dragunov. Dar and Shah arrived, walking up the set. Of course, they were upset. They argued back and forth with Dar, claiming that Joe Coffey would never be his champion as long as he was around. Dar grabbed the Heritage Cup, but Joe held on to it, told Dar to enjoy it while he had it. Fuck him up, Dar and Shah. Don't let anybody embarrass you. What did you think of Gallus? Because they're showing their babyface / comedy chops as well.
Yeah, I thought this was really entertaining. I almost was like, I even was impressed with Devlin's timing, and some of the things he said, and like saying, "Oh, this interview's supposed to be about Jordan Devlin." Everyone kind of just, even though I'm darn shy, I'm like, no, we don't really care about you. But anyway, it was great. This was fun. I had no problem with it, and then it set up multiple things too, because I almost forgot about I didn't forget that they stretched out his jackets, but I forgot about the Ray-Bans. So it handled multiple things at one time perfectly, and I thought it was entertaining overall. So I didn't have a problem with it.
Well, speaking of jackets, that is a theme for this episode, because Jack Styles was backstage looking at Dave Mastiff's jacket, and why can't I get one of these? Styles said last week Mastiff didn't tag him in a match. He said he wants to be like Mastiff and earn his respect. Well, you need to start eating, young Jack. That's But Mastiff said he'll think about it. And why are they having this conversation now, after they were in the tag team tournament? Like, surely you would don't call me Shirley. You should have this match, had this conversation before the match. And then Kenny Williams cut a promo on Sam Grant, saying he's not afraid of a thunderstorm, because all a thunderstorm really does is come, makes a lot of noise for a little while, and then just passes. And again, the stuff going on with, I know I love Sam Gradwell, but Kenny Williams and the Scum character is really working, and it is, even when you think about it, you go, yeah, that's really, really good stuff,
Yeah, man, he's really, really good at it. Like, I don't get out here and repeat what I say about him living up to his name on purpose. It's like he really does it in a perfect way. It's just like I really like everything that he's been doing as of late. So yeah, I think it's going well.
Well, up next, A-Kid versus Saxon Huxley. Why the fuck are these having a match when they were just trying to help? But still,
see, none of this made a lick of sense, because I was confused too. I was like, why are they fighting?
Have a tag match. You never heard of tag matches. They're like, we've got to have a match, but we can't be friends until we face each other. Like, them the rules. You've heard what was going on. But A-Kid versus Saxon Huxley. A-Kid uses technique to control Huxley, but Huxley uses power to thwart him. We see Huxley kick manhandling a smaller man until A-Kid managed to lock in the octopus hold. He hit a flying super kick, but Huxley grabbed his wrist. A-Kid followed an insecurity, but Huxley would not let go. A-Kid then hit a springboard moonsault into a DDT for the pin and the win. Huxley was upset after the loss, but still shook A-Kid's hands. I guess this is tough love. I'm not going to lie. I did find it a little bit boring because I'm not really invested in Saxon Huxley. I don't mind A-Kid, but this is not going to build personality for him.
Yeah, this match is better than I anticipated, though, but I'm not surprised it was good because A-Kid was in it, first of all, so I'm not surprised it was good in that way. And I understand what you're saying about it being boring, but, a little bit that they were trying to make a point that, Huxley was fighting a little bit more measured here. So it's the story that maybe that A-Kid is getting to him is fine with me. But I can understand what you're saying, not being invested in Huxley, because I think that's what this is. This is an attempt to try to expand on him a little bit more. So they're trying to use A-Kid to do it. But, I don't know. But also, by the way, this just showed me how refreshing it is that even though A-Kid tied with Noam Dar, instead of a rematch, they both moved on to a new challenge. So it's just like, that's refreshing. Like, I know maybe down the line they will fight again, but we don't have to rush it. They don't have to do anything. They don't have to do it. They can go back to, they can do other stuff. Now, I probably rather A-Kid would be chasing it in a way. Yeah. Maybe I probably would prefer him doing something like that. But at the end of the day, I do like throwing in something new right there instead of the predictable, let's do a rematch type of thing.
Yeah, without a doubt. Well, Gallus walking backstage being goofy. Wolfgang departed from the group and promptly was attacked by Devlin with a chair. Devlin who came with his sunglasses, which Wolfgang had stolen some time back. A-Kid was interviewed about his match with Huxley and said he thought that Huxley had found himself, but Tiemann and Raja walked up and glared at A-Kid. Charlie Dempsey briefly stopped to stare at A-Kid, who acknowledged him. Dempsey acknowledged him back. Those two going at it is going to be a technical masterpiece, And then the main event, Nathan Fraser versus Tiemann. We see Fraser dominate straight in Tiemann, but Tiemann eventually caught Fraser off a springboard attempt and dropped him throat first across the top rope. Tiemann was firmly in control, grinding Fraser down with a headlock. Fraser managed to escape and threw Tiemann to ringside, but Tiemann trapped him with a ring apron as he slid to the outside, but Fraser came back with a moonsault off the barricade. Tiemann used the ring apron again to blindside Fraser and stomping the head and the neck. We see Tiemann stomping Fraser's neck, but he managed to hit an insecurity, went to the top rope. Both Raja and Dempsey tried to distract him, allowing Tiemann to sneak up on him from behind, but Fraser still managed to elbow Tiemann off him and then hit a Phoenix Splash to pin the head of the Emilia. When two guys can't help you, maybe it's time to give up. I don't know. I would normally moan about the leader losing, but I think Fraser was maybe due a win. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Yeah, I thought about that too. Like, man, I thought this was kind of like not that good. I think they could have used that victory. I think especially Tillman could have used that. This was solid though. I didn't have a problem with it, and like Frazier was definitely impressive again. And if you thought that losing to Volta was like horrible on his, he needed to get some heat back from that, which I don't think so. I think being in the ring with Volta on his farewell is just a nod to how good they think he is. So anyway, besides that, this was fine though. I didn't have a problem with the contest, and like you said, we all know that Frazier has a bright future. I want to know what he does next, but it wasn't a bad deal, but yeah, it's kind of amazing, like you said, that he counted the numbers game so well. When you would think that's why you start a family like you start different meals, you start that so you can have the numbers advantage and take advantage, and for it to not work out like that, it also makes me wonder. It's like, will Tillman, if he continue to let them down and like that, could this be a way to make Dempsey the leader, or maybe a conflict down the line. I don't want to think that far ahead because they're just they're still new, but still it's something to think about. But yeah, this was fine. Other than like you said, the leader losing like that.
Yeah, like I said, but it adds an extra layer, like you're talking about now. You go with Dempsey looking so good. The choice near falls. It was a good main event, We should say there was no fans for the show as well, which is a bit of a shame. Hopefully we're back in a few weeks. But we move on to our last NXT UK, February 17th. Like we said, an empty BT Sports Studios, Randy Shepherd and Nigel McGuinness. We get Sam Gradwell versus Kenny Williams to start, or do we? That Kenny Williams hobbles out on crutches, claiming he's got an injury. The assistant to the regional manager pops up on the video screen to shoot down Kenny's doctor.
Conveniently.
I mean, what are the chances, We get going. Williams grabs Gradwell by the mohawk, so Sam grabbed in ears. He got free for an irate, frees Williams for a slam. Gradwell stomping him by the ropes, for Gradwell gets caught as well. We get forearms on a back body drop. They have Gradwell ahead as does a release butterfly suplex for an SCO, nearly won it. But Williams pulls Gradwell into the ropes and then baited him. But we get the old SummerSlam 90, and it's eventually spotted as Gradwell sat down on a sunset flip to nick the win. But afterwards, we see Williams jabs Gradwell with a stolen crutch, and he got some scissors out of the toolbox from under the ring. Williams then...
Oh, man.
Shockingly trims the mohawk. Yes, the mohawk of
the
Sam
mohawk.
Gradwell. The thing that gives him all the power. It would be the same as smashing Achilles' heel or Samson's hair. Or, trying to think. Taking away Volta's chops or Darth Vader's lightsaber. It is just incredible. The match itself for me, though, I don't think was long enough. And Kenny Williams is the last man standing for now, laughing about cutting the hair of Gradwell. But this could have been 20 minutes and I wouldn't have complained.
Yeah, man, they didn't really. Yeah, it was over before you know. I think it was done like within 5 to 7 minutes of. It was like 7 minutes into the show. I think the match was over. I thought something like that. But anyway, it was fine. Like you said, I didn't have a problem with it. You definitely could watch this all the time. By the way, I mentioned it's very convenient time by seeing in literally standing in medical, right? As Kenny is in the middle of lying about being hurt. It's just so convenient that he's checking on that right at that moment. But anyway, the match, like I said, was fine. I'm glad Grant won the win at least, because he had been losing a lot of these spots, but so it's good that he got the win. But like you said, the more interesting part was the brutal attack and saving the mohawk. Embarrassing, by the way. I'm sure it's embarrassing, and like you said, that's his power. I didn't even think about it like that. That's his power supply, and I'm sorry, but he's pretty much bald anyway, so hopefully he gets some payback.
What? I think you're fine, sir. That was what? How dare you? I mean, talk about you won't like it when he's angry.
I'm joking.
Kenny Williams, good. Kenny
Go
Williams
get some payback.
Made a mistake by cutting the hair of Gradwell. Like we said, you wouldn't like it when he's angry. Backstage, Gallus are laughing at clips of them last week, but Wolfgang's not laughing. He's upset about being attacked and slams a locker.
He was laughing last week. Yeah. The week before, he was laughing a lot.
He's annoyed because and Mark, he's just whoa, man. Joe's still not selling it a lot. But they leave too with the TV. Why don't they turn the TV off? Save electric, hey? Anyway, Zia Brookside's happy to be here and gets interviewed. She's acting all bratty.
This was great, man.
Because they've been raving about a Mel. She gets asked a question and goes, I'm going to ask Daddy. I'm going to get Daddy to sort this out. It works because this is what everybody thinks. It's simple.
Yeah, this is it. Oh, it was perfect. It was so perfect. It's just like, again, another person attacking a male. It's like the whole division. It's like, you know what, man? Screw your story. Like everybody. But again, this was great. And he said this is so much better than what Tiffany Stratton's version of this character is, in my opinion. The stereotype that Tiffany Stratton is, I really like this one because, like you said, people think that's how it is anyway. She has a legendary father, in the business, like being that spoiled brat. She's doing it really well. If you ask me, and so I like this. I really like this.
That's the thing as well. People say to me, "We've not mentioned Tiffany Stratton on NXT Update." I don't need to. I've got Zia Brookside. Very simple.
Exactly. A much better version of that story. I promise you. I'm telling you guys, it's so much better.
We get some more wacky vignettes, this time for Jack Stars and Dave Mastiff. Of course, he wants that leather vest. Jack's got to do 3 squats for an hour to show he's in peak condition, except Dave forgets, and 2 hours later he's reminded. Challenge 2 is an eating contest, which involves eating a load of Weetabix dry. Finally, Jack's got to show courage, but he backs out of streaking through the performance centre. Thank God. Backstage, Sam Gradwell on the wall path for kicking Williams, for Kenny Williams, and he's kicking door downs. Should be kicking Williams, to be fair, the way Sam is looking through the door. And then Angel Hayes versus Mckenzie. It's been nearly 3 months since Mckenzie had a match in NXT UK, but she locks up with the current ICW Women's Champion. Hayes gets free and tries some flash pins for scoring a hip toss. Front suplexes box as Mckenzie come back with shoulder. Hayes gets free, hits some uppercuts, and then a back elbow in the corner for a sling blade, and he calls the upset. Mckenzie returns with a deathlift back suplex before she rolled down for a Hayes super kick. A second wheelbarrow from Hayes ends in a wheelbarrow facebuster, and that is it. But Hayes, I think, looks really good in this one. Mckenzie, I think, needs some character development.
Oh my God, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's the only thing I think she's missing. I think in the ring, and then they mentioned that she's trained with Pete Dunne, and we know that she's under the learning tree of Mako. So it's like, based on the skill level of her mentors, she obviously have a bright future, man. So it's like, especially on their brand. So like, I think something is missing, and what's missing, like you said, is from a character standpoint. But in the ring, I think she's right on track. So this is fine, solid stuff. And like you said, I agree. Even with the predictable finish or whatever, because Angel Hayes hasn't been represented on NXT UK as much. Angel Hayes looked really, really good in defeat here, so I have no problem with it. I do love the way that they do their, if you want to say their squash matches, they're like I said, we kind of have an idea going into it who may win, but they're so well worked, you never know. Like, it can always be an upset with NXT UK, especially, in some of these matches in the women's division. So this was good.
Yeah, without a doubt. The WWE.com exclusive, as Andy Shepherd interviews Nathan Fraser, who's happy to won last week. They talk about the Walter match. Paul Fraser straight up called Ilya Dragunov for a title shot. So again, makes sense. Ilya can have a successful title defense, and Fraser can get a little bit more limelight, and that's what the victory last week means as well. I'm glad wins and losses kind of still matter in NXT UK. It's not like someone, who's lost a couple. It's not like Tierman will be in line for an NXT UK title shot next. It's actually got to be someone who's on a bit of a roll. That's why
right.
Either Isla Dawn, if someone says, like, now she's getting a shot, you could understand it because she's been picking up wins.
Exactly, because she's been winning. Exactly. She's established herself as a force. Even as we continue on with the male, if a male can get another fight with Jenny and she keeps fighting the entire division, it'll be believable that she can get another shot at Mako. So, yeah.
Yeah, without that, we're ready to do Familiar's gaff for a vignette as well. Charlie Dempsey walking up to a window just so he can stare out of it moodily. Tieman's unhappy he lost last week, but declared that he'd not be a loser as long as the family wins. Dempsey says a loss will make the family closer, and that's a promise. There was great stuff. Like the way it was filmed, and even the 3 masks on
the way it looked.
The wall.
I loved it. Right, it was really well done. Like the symbolism, I think they was trying to show, and the way they played it out. And also, again, Dempsey he don't look like just Tillman's flunky. He looks like somebody who is a vital member of this group. Already, even though he's the newest face of the group. So, I really like that too. And like you said, what they said to each other, and looking at this very, very optimistic. Like you lose in that situation, like you said, with 3 of y'all, 1 guy. They look very, very optimistic about that. But I like it. I like you said, the way it was shot. And I like I said, I'm expecting big things. I don't know, maybe a Heritage Cup, maybe and tag team champions in the future, or even bigger aspirations for this faction. If depending on how things can going forward.
Well, this is the thing about ED Emilia as well, is that you can see Raja and Tierman go for maybe tag team titles and British, and then bring into question like who's the true leader. If Tierman's saying, "Oh, it's right. You guys are successful," but what point does it come now? You have to ask questions. Like I said, we are building it up, but they've put the groundwork in, and so many times they don't, and now we've got like a kind of point to kind of work back and look back on. in a few months' time. Myla Grace versus Stevie Turner next. This was Turner's first match here in 3 months.
In a while.
Turner's not won since an unsuccessful shot of Miko Satomura last summer. We see Turner eating a kick to the head, then gets pulled into a chin lock for a running knee lift, dropped her for a near fall. Back to a chin lock from Turner, but Grace breaks the hold as she fought back, into a short arm clothesline, some regular ones too. A 619 as Turner was in the ropes, followed a tornado DDT for a near fall, only for Turner to hit a kick and a side effect for the win. I don't know about you, but there is nothing 4D in this still. I mean, I don't know how long I have to watch it before I see something. This was past.
Or futuristic.
Yeah, futuristic.
Yeah, or
like,
futuristic either. Like, what's so futuristic? She beat somebody with the side effect.
Yeah.
That wasn't really. It's not innovative, but anyway, it's fine. It's fine. I'll leave it alone. I'm not as down on Stevie as you are, but I do understand what you mean. Every time you mention it, I still don't know what 4-dimensional. I'm out of it. But anyway, I thought this, like you said, well worked, passable. Is a great way to put it. Myla Grace, actually, I think every time I've seen her the last few times she's been out there, even though we know it's an losing effort, she's showing something, you know what I mean? So I think she has something that you can build on. And, with time, she probably will be more important to the show. I don't know. But this match really just didn't have my investment. So I'm with you on it being just passable. I didn't really mind or really care what was going on. It was a good TV level match. Nothing stuck out.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something as well, and if anybody ever thinks my bias for Nxt Uk, I think this episode is probably the one out of all of them. I know we haven't got the main event yet, but it just kind of, apart from the Sam Gradwell, obviously, Kenny Williams part, I just felt this was just filling time, after, especially with 2 women's matches back to back, that just kind of meant nothing, But again, we'll see if the main event can see backstage that we'll be celebrating Miko Satomura next week, so I wonder who's going to be interrupting her to set up a match. And Mustache Mountain, look forward to the UK title defence as well. Tyler's looking more and more like Trent these days. It's a bit weird. I think one day someone's going to tell him that they actually is his father. But, we're not going to that point yet. Next week we get Zia Brookside versus Amel. Of course, we'll bring that to you next month along with a tag team. But one last match for NXT update this month, and it's Jordan Devlin versus Wolfgang. Company's trying to compare Devlin to Patrick Bateman, American Psycho. Probably not the most PG rated thing to do. But we start with Wolfgang grabbing a chin bars with another plug for the Saudi show. Wolfgang goes to the arm, but Devlin elbows his way free before he gets bullied down. A brief brawl ends with Devlin being thrown back inside for a suplex, and it's back to it. Devlin low bridge to the outside, being sent off the apron for an Acai moonsault was caught. Devlin pushes free and posts to Scott instead for a return to the ring, and it was his turn to go for the arm. We see Devlin leaps over a spear as Wolfgang crash into the buckles for a headbutt from Devlin connected. A slingshot cut from the apron back in, nearly wins it as Devlin tries to push on, only to get caught with his spear. Wolfgang leaps up atop, only to get caught with one-man Spanish fly before a full 50 splash from Devlin to get the win. What were your thoughts on this main event?
Yeah, I think this is another fantastic, main event for NXT UK. Like I said, you mentioned this show kind of just dragged along in a way. But this match, I don't think the effort the guys put in this match were lost on me. I came away impressed, like I said, sometimes even with Wolfgang and how he looked, I'm used to Devlin putting on notable performances, but I don't know. I wasn't sure how him and Wolfgang would actually gel in this situation, but it wasn't bad. And I think Devlin have a lot of ways to win a match, and he chose another one in this one. So I didn't have a problem with the match. I thought it was really good, especially on an episode where, most of the show you can kind of take it or leave.
Well, the thing is for me was this a worthy main event? And I know we can't have a title.
It doesn't compare to what they've been doing. No. It's nowhere near the level of Devlin and nowhere near the empty arena. Nowhere near even Blair Davenport and Mako 1, in my opinion. So from a few, earlier, or Volta and Frazier. So no, it definitely probably went on that same level. But based on the rest of the show, I thought it was a upgrade. But I understand that they may not be saying too much.
Well, yeah. Like the thing. Look, I'm going to take some positives from it. Jordan Devlin. Like I said, they're building him up as a star. He can beat people like Wolfgang now. We don't even blink with the size disadvantage. We know he's at the level where...
He's damn good, man.
Exactly. He can't beat Ilya Dragunov at the moment, but you wouldn't bet against him building up some victories and then coming back in 6 months' time or so,
Right.
For me, this might not have been the best NXT UK, but with no fans and no takeover to aim for, this will continue in parts because there's no kind of end goal. Yes, we can build up to events every couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks or stuff like this, but at the end, this is what NXT UK is struggling against. I think, would you agree with that?
Yeah, man, it's a lot of unfair, things that's kind of out of their control. But yeah, you're kind of stuck in this thing, right now with the way things are in the world, and just like with what they're allowed to do, and it's hard to even invest long term because you don't know what's going to be available and all that. So it's just a lot of stuff that they're always going to be in this funk. But I do think they do a really good job of making the best of what they got and what they've been able to do. Like I think NXT UK maybe, like I said, these batch of shows may not have been the best, or even especially that last show, you could tell they were trying to put stuff together, and with the fans not being there and all of the different things that's going on, it's a lot of stuff going on there at one time. But I think when you bring up the quality and like what they're able to do and how good some of the stories still are, in my opinion, they really do a good job of putting competent product out there, even when you can tell the show is in a flux in a way.
Yeah. But I mean, and also like I said, NXT UK next month we're going to have the tag team titles on the line. We're going to find out who's next in line for Miko. We're probably going to get Ilya versus Nathan Fraser as well. And of course, Sam Bradwell's Path of Destruction. So there are reasons, and like I said, there are reasons to tune in. And because NXT UK is still only an hour, we kind of get that beauty of the old NXT, where even if you're watching, like I said, 2 or 3 programs together, you're not getting too much from it. Do you know what I mean? It's not overbearing. It's not, you don't go, oh, fucking hell. It's over before you can get offended. I think even with this episode, I'm going,
nothing
I didn't enjoy it, and it's done.
Right. Right. Nothing drags. Like, even when things not, like you said, not up to the quality you think it should be, it's not ever really there for that long. It's not like a 3-hour Raw that can drag. You're like, oh my God, get me to, get me out of here in a way. Sometimes when it's bad. So, I think the NXT, like you said, that hour does them wonders. And I do think, like I said, I love where NXT UK is at in a lot of ways, like you mentioned. And like the important matches, when it's a big time match, most of them are always going to be good to great. You know what I mean? The storylines always make sense, in my opinion, for the most part. They have plenty of guys and girls that bring very different elements to the table. You know what I mean? Like just full divisions in a way. So like, and I think whoever books it do a very good job of keeping the story simple but still compelling. And I don't think anybody used backstage segments and video packages better than them at this point. You know what I mean? I think they do a really good job in that department, also telling their story. So when it's good, it's really, really good. They definitely still have a lot of little issues they have to work through, that some of it is out of their control in a lot. But I really still hope that WWE management stay away from this product and leave it in its little pocket, and because it's still good enough. And I love the way that they formatted everything now to where, I don't think it needs to be left. I think it should be left alone. I don't think it needs to be bothered at all. So please, just stay away from it and let them do what they're doing.
Without that, and it's great to hear that from someone who's kind of maybe, like I said, I'm not going to lie about my bias towards like NXT UK.
It's a lot to like there, man. It's a lot to like.
But even with, like we said, we've set the kind of stall for next month as well for our next update. Because obviously we've got Ron Simmons on Broken Skull. We're going to have Ziggler and Ciampa and what's going on in NXT 2.0. And then we've got all the fun in NXT UK. So I think, overall, it might not be this month. But like we said, we're setting up for next one to see how it goes as well, Yeah,
and hopefully, like you said, we're just getting really started. still in this year. We all know that I just found out at the most recent year-end awards and all of that, but the stuff that happened in January and February is going to feel like Bizarro land by the time we get to Bizarro. By the time we get to December, this is all going to sound crazy as hell, the stuff we're talking about right now. So hopefully things only get better from here.
Exactly. And the maddest thing would be, Sam Gradwell wasn't WWE champion in January, February. When did he? That's for you, Sam.
Yeah, man. They changed Ilya Dragunov's name to Paul.
You just imagine it. Well, we'll leave it on that. We'll leave it on the positives, I suppose. That is it for today and NXT Update. Don't forget, of course, all social media at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNRJR. Monty, where can people find and listen to you?
Oh, yeah, please, anywhere you listen to a podcast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. We're the Mind of Monty podcast is what you type in. You can subscribe, check us out. We've been doing a lot of fun stuff as of late over there with the Peacemaker series that I really enjoy. So I hope y'all can check out our reviews. And we also talk about more of the main roster and some of just wrestling headlines. I don't do as many show reviews as I used to, but sometimes it's a big show, big pay-per-view. I'll review it. And also I love predicting and try my hand at stuff. So I predicted the Chamber on my most recent episode. So follow me on Twitter at MindMontyPod, MIND Monty, Monty pod. So yeah, follow me there. You can find me in James's bio, so you can do that also. That's be an easy way to follow me. So yeah, check out everything there. I got links, and thank you for always having me here. This is always fun. So yeah, man, check me out, please.
Like I said, it is always a pleasure to have you on. Let's up and also on Facebook and Instagram, because all Google platforms. Send us an email, thedublinpodcast@gmail.com, YouTube Dublin Podcast for the latest clips. Podcast got the same time you used to do SoundCloud on your phone, also Spotify and iTunes, where you can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that's it. Our next episode of the WNR Podcast will be with Jaxie with the Elimination Chamber. Don't worry, everybody, if you're thinking you're not getting enough Monty. Monty is giving predictions for that, with, of course, Gina as well. And then in 2 weeks, Monty is back with everybody for AEW Revolution pre-show, where we'll catch up with Dynamite, and of course Monty will beat us with predictions again. So that's something to look forward to, isn't it?
Oh yeah, definitely a big time show. You already know they're going to try to pack a punch now. They're pulling out the big guns. Now that it looks like the Codester is out the door. All right, but yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait for that show. I can't wait, man.
The thing is, what we cover on like 2.5 hours, we started on Cody. That just seems so long ago, but,
right?
No, we have.
So we're full circle.
Yeah,
full circle.
Without a doubt. Well, we'll leave it there perfectly. Until then, James Rose, and I was joined by the brilliant Monty. Again, it is a pleasure and ever a chore to have you on, mate. All right?
All right, man. Always fun. Always fun. I appreciate it.
And thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll catch you next time. Bye.
Adios.